Hello, Tyson.
Welcome.
How are you? I just put fucking chocolate in my mouth.
Oh, yeah, timing is spot on tonight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 144
Hello.
of Nick Tyson Videotape. Very happy to be here.
Hello.
Hello, indeed.
How is everyone? How is everyone's evening? Hope it's well.
We're back under the pump, Nick.
Tyson. Good Lord.
It's no surprise.
It's a second wave.
Yeah, we're in Victoria, and it's shambles. But we were ahead of the trend, Nicholas, because we started doing this online last week just out of necessity of not being able to get to your place, and now it's like, well, now we're setting the trend.
Now, exactly. My God. Well, hopefully it doesn't last long. Hopefully everyone's safe and well and listening to,
as many podcasts as they can.
Our exactly. Devour the podcast.
Yeah, exclusively our podcast.
I finally got my ass into gear and been listening to exclusively ours. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, don't listen to. No, that's not true. If you're into other stuff, listen to other stuff.
But we've got your needs covered. We've got 143 other episodes, Nicholas.
Please,
what more do you need?
Exactly. Listen to. God damn it, nothing's coming to mind. Listen to Cobra. Fucking get that on your plate. Get that on your plate.
Cobra's in the feed twice. Because it was
exactly. That's how good it is.
When we did a rewind episode, I decided Cobra was the one I wanted to play again because I had such a good time with it.
Exactly, because it's our only morning episode.
Right.
We feel it. You can feel it. Fucking hell.
Because we're actually fresh.
We're very fresh.
Yeah.
We're very new.
Nice.
Is that number 6?
Oh, that was early days. Yeah, real early days.
Oh, early days.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Tice, but we're doing something we haven't done in a while.
No,
when was the last time we did this?
We usually save this for... Yeah, this is usually a segment we save for our Halloween specials. But we kind of thought we hadn't done a horror movie for a while, so we thought we'd drop into our Everything Old is New Again segment, which is when we take a remake and, of course, the original that inspired that remake, and we have a chat about both of them. And this week, Nick, we're talking about the two OMEN films, the original from 1976 and the remake from 2006. We're kind of giving you a little bit of a Halloween taster.
Bit of a hint.
That's
666.
Oh yeah. Well, we should have done this a month ago. What are we thinking? We're all over the shop.
No way, we're not doing that. We're doing it now.
Yeah, it'll probably end up coming out on the 6th of the 7th. So that's kind of close.
Hey, that's close. It's a 6. Yeah, it's 1/6.
It's more likely going to be the 5th. So it's not going to have any relevance at all.
Look, it's fine.
But
you guys will love it.
That's it. That's what we're hoping. Hey, Nick, why don't you tell the people where they can find our show?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to us. We hope you make it. We hope that we make you laugh as much as I laugh on the show.
It's impossible.
But if you are listening to us, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If you haven't liked, subscribed, rate, reviewed us, yes, please do so. We would love it very much. That's where you can do that wherever you're listening to the podcast. We don't mind. Other than that, Tyson and myself. The podcast that we run is all over social media as well. So if you wish to look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of those things, you'll find us and find some content there.
Tons of content.
On us. Tons of content. Other than that, that's the way that you contact us as well if you wish to write to us or whatever. Or you can chuck us an email at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com. And Tyson and myself are big fans of the Letterboxd app. So if you do know what the app is, then all you have to do is search up Tyson, if you wish to follow him, is TYS_videotape, and myself is NIC_videotape. That is the only way you're going to find out what we rated these two films, or what we rate any film, because we don't talk about ratings on this show.
No, we don't.
Oh, actually, no, I think there's been a slip. I think there's been maybe one or two slips.
A couple of slips.
But apart from that, yes, if you want to find out what we like and what we're watching, jump on Letterboxd.
That's it. And if you you might be, if anyone's following me on Letterboxd, they might have noticed a specific trend in the last week or so of viewing, which might give you a hint to an upcoming episode. If you can piece that together, because there is definitely that one together. Which you'll find out at the end of the episode. But there is definitely a common theme running through my Letterboxd at the moment. Which is very exciting. I'm looking forward to that episode a lot, Nick. We'll talk about that later. Should we talk some trailers?
Let's talk some trailers.
All right, let's do it.
Everybody's talking trailers.
Very good. I haven't checked this week, Nick, to see if we got copyright flagged again for the Harry Nilsson classic. Everyone's talking. I did try a little some sneaky. I changed the tempo of the song and I changed the key of the song to see if maybe we would get away with it that way. I haven't got an email yet. So usually I get an email if we get the old copyright strike. So let's see. I guess we'll see if we get away with it this week as well.
Happens.
Yeah, you never know.
Exactly.
Nick, we've got a couple of things to talk about. What do you want to talk about first?
Yep. No, I'm going to let you pick, Ty. So I always pick.
All right, let's talk about Greenland.
Okay, Greenland.
The only thing people want to talk about today is this Clark, this interstellar comet.
Right? I mean, it's
big news.
I don't see Clark.
Oh, maybe he's still sleeping.
Dad.
Some of Clark's larger fragments are now expected to enter our atmosphere.
That's right, and others are just...
What are they saying?
more of the same.
I bet you it's going to make a heck of a show.
Whoa. Where are they going?
I don't know. One of the first chunks is about to hit.
Hit?
Only part of it. It's going in the ocean.
Would you look at that? Wait, where's the explosion?
We now are getting word that the fragment has hit Central Florida.
Oh my God.
Wait, are some more pieces gonna hit?
Come on, let's go.
The sky's on fire.
2 days. They got it all wrong. There's a ton of fragments. Planet killers.
Space agencies are predicting an extinction level event.
We're gonna be together, all right, kiddo? We're just trying to get to safety.
They've been tracking the military flights to bunkers in Greenland.
It's our only chance.
Move back! Perimeter breach. Perimeter breach. Runway 33.
Allison! Nathan! Allison!
Where's Dad?
We'll find him. It's okay.
Clark's largest fragment will hit in less than 24 hours.
I swear, I'm gonna get my family in that bunker. I know you will, son.
If you are hearing this broadcast, seek shelter immediately.
What is it? What's going on?
If you are hearing this broadcast, seek shelter immediately.
Hang on, Nathan.
Seek shelter immediately. Seek shelter immediately.
All right, Nick.
Tyson, it's been a while since we've had a disaster film.
Well, I feel like the last big disaster film. Well, and like a little while, but the last one we had also starred Gerard Butler, which was Geostorm.
Yeah. He's the guy. I was going to bring this up. I totally was going to bring this up. He's the everyman. He's everyman. He's the action everyman.
How did he get
so
that?
You've got a Tom Hanks everyman, and then you've got a Gerard Butler everyman, and he's the action everyman.
I just don't know what he's doing when he does someone just send him these scripts for these disaster movies, and he just goes, "Oh yeah, that was fun on the last one. Might as well give it another crack, I guess." Because this is...
we didn't get it right. Let's do it again.
I know.
Can we do it again?
That's what he's thinking. I think he's kind of gone, you know what, without that last one, Geostorm, people gave a lot of shit to that.
Jeez,
why don't we give it another crack?
Come on, let's do it again.
And now we've got, Greenland, which looks to be a little bit more along the lines of... Like, Geostorm obviously was very kind of action politics heavy.
Sure.
He was
I didn't see it. Did you see it?
Yeah, it's no good. But, like... It's what you expect from those kind of movies. It's just a big, dumb, fun movie with like scientists talking gibberish and lots of big special effects scenes with things getting destroyed. And it's not a good movie by any stretch, but it was watchable. Whereas now we have this film coming from... this is the director of Angel Has Fallen, which is probably got a lot to do with why Gerard Butler is involved.
Okay.
So I have tried to watch Angel Has Fallen, and I didn't get all the way through it. That series is like a... Really, kind of, I try with that series, but I struggle because I really like the first one. Do you like Olympus Has Fallen?
I haven't watched any of them. I'm very, I haven't watched Olympus Has Fallen or the other one or this one. Or
so you had Olympus Has Fallen, which felt like a real kind of like throwback, like a 90s throwback, and I really dug it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was much better than White House Down, which was the kind of like its twin movie of that year, which we might have talked about really when we did our twin movie special, because it's been out for a while.
We totally did.
And then you had London Has Fallen, which I got through at least, but I did not enjoy. And now Angel Has Fallen, I just wasn't even able to get through it. I was just not vibing with it at all.
So you're not buying that box set, Tyson, anytime soon?
No, I don't think I'll be buying that box set.
You're not going to... Okay, that's a shame.
Yeah, I got the feeling that they're just going to keep cranking them out too. Like, it's an easy, quick fix with a bit of name recognition. It's like, is Gerard Butler busy? No. Well, let's
cool.
Let's rip out another one. Yeah.
Exactly.
All he's got to do.
I don't reckon that's what this looks like, though. This looks like it's a little... I didn't mind the look of this. It looked a little fun.
It feels like closer to Deep Impact than it does to like Geostorm and Armageddon. It feels like it's a little bit more about the drama, which, it can go either way.
Exactly. Alarm bells are going off, though, because when the poster says from the producer of John Wick and franchises The Town and Clash of the Titans, I was like, don't put... It's an alarm bell straight away. You don't need that.
No, and I mean, does anyone fall from the producer of credit anymore? Like, surely nobody falls for that anymore.
Do. Why don't they stop that? Why is that a thing? Do you know why they do it? Do you know why they do it? Because someone saw from the producers of John Wick and went, "Oh, John Wick, what is this? This looks good."
That's what I mean.
And it'll work on some people. It'll work on some people, but unfortunately, we're stuck with it. Tice, I might see this, especially if it comes to streaming. But then again, like when I said off air, it was the same with when the San Andreas trailer came out. I was like, shit, that actually looks not half bad. I might watch that. Have I watched that? No, I haven't. So
it's because I never told you not to watch it.
Oh, really? Is it bad?
It was. I mean, they're all kind of the same now. They're all kind of dodge.
It wasn't Deep Impact.
No, and
it wasn't Deep Impact. What was the last one? What was the last disaster movie that really hit it home? What was a really good one? For me, I'll tell you mine while you're thinking. Mine was Cloverfield. But that wasn't really a disaster movie. It was more a monster movie, but kind of did the same thing. Cloverfield to me was the one where it hit.
No, that's fair. I don't think they've been as strong as since the kind of the heyday. And that was there's something really 90s about all of them that we can't.
There is,
Like you try to replicate that now, and it just feels really, it just feels like antiquated in a way that you don't want in these kind of movies. Like you watch something like 2012 and you're seeing the same cliches that we saw in the 90s, and in the 90s they were original. They felt kind of fresh, and now you watch them and just like, I've seen this movie 100 times. And yes, the special effects get better, but it doesn't mean that the movie gets better.
Yeah, so true. Even like what was it Day After Tomorrow? What was that one?
Day
After Tomorrow.
That might actually be in the conversation for the last one that I enjoyed. I don't mind Day After Tomorrow.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, these are done. These are done.
Oh, it's the well and truly the end point of them, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But I can still enjoy that one for what it was, because post that, you've got some real terrible ones. Like we've talked about, Geostorm, San Andreas, even stuff like Into the Storm. I'd qualify Hurricane Heist.
Yeah,
which I had fun
with.
That's
a shame. Yeah, that's all right. Hey, man, watch Heavy Rain and it's all good.
Heavy Rain. Christian Slater.
So good.
I have never seen Heavy Rain.
Oh, really?
No.
It's actually not that bad.
I'd love to watch it, actually. That'd be a really good... That's one of those ones that just slipped through the cracks that I really should get to. The Keanu one you're thinking of is Chain Reaction. They had really similar covers. And I used to always get them mixed up.
Because I've seen both of those.
As soon as you said, what's the Keanu one, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Yeah.
I knew you would. All right, well, are you going to watch this, Tyson?
Oh, look, I'm a sucker for these, Nick. I'm an absolute sucker for them. So, I'll probably watch it. Yeah.
There's no way. All right, fair deal. All right, then. Tyson, what is the next one called?
The next trailer is called The Tax Collector.
Oh.
You heard of me? What have you heard?
I heard you're the devil.
I Might be.
Ah, come on, fool.
Good, eh?
Every gang in LA has to pay their taxes.
What's up, Holmes? Wake up.
If you're stack short, go rob a bank. Rob your own mother. There's no excuses. Do not test that.
Whoa, hey, whoa. You guys look like a couple of monsters.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, but I'm at peace with that.
Son las 12 de la madrugada, mirándome en el espejo.
What's up, Johnny Cash? How about that time you gave me like 3 different STDs?
Are you kidding? She's kidding. She's kidding. You got your wife, you got your kids, you got your castle.
Daddy!
I'm supposed to terrorize the herd. That's my function.
God allows me to walk through the darkness and come back into the light.
What did you see in me?
I heard that you were this big bad gangster.
You're taxing 43 different street gangs. That's thousands of dudes in the most violent subculture in Los Angeles.
The count's short.
Who are you? I'm the future, and you the past.
Got your kids. You want to buy them back? You don't think he wants to spill blood? He wants to cut your heart up.
Can't run for what's left.
I got a 380 on each ankle, 38 in my right, 25 in my left, chopper in the trunk, Glock in my belt. I'm on it.
Took my kids, man.
I'm riding with you till the wheels fall off.
You're bad. You ain't that bad, all right?
Open your mouth.
He'll splatter your brains out. I don't want that.
I do. I want that.
Now, with a title like that, Nicholas, it sounds like it's going to be the most dry, boring movie you're going to see this year. But, hey, look, it still could end up being really bad because it is written, directed by David Ayer, who I don't enjoy his films.
No, you've not liked any of them? None of them?
I don't mind Training Day, but he didn't direct Training Day. He wrote it, I think.
He didn't direct Training Day? No, that's true.
But I remember liking Training Day.
Okay.
But aside from that, I know you don't mind Sabotage. Is that correct?
I don't mind. Yeah, that's correct. Yes, I don't mind Sabotage.
No, I did not like Sabotage.
What was the other one? I didn't mind Fury, but Fury was like it just got boring in the end. And
he wrote the screenplay for Fast and Furious. Look at him go.
He did.
Yeah.
He did indeed. But yeah, after the stories of what happened on the set of Fury came out, I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. That's that film can go fuck itself.
I don't. Okay, here's the honest truth. I don't mind Street Kings. Okay. Maybe it's the Keanu factor. And he also wrote a movie that I really like that I think is super underrated, and that is Dark Blue, the Kurt Russell Crooked Cop movie. It's a James Ellroy short story or novel that David Ayer wrote the screenplay.
Oh, you've talked about that before.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of it because it's one of those underrated movies from early 2000s that nobody ever thinks about or talks about, and I think it's great. Look, okay, so, you know, there's some stuff there.
I've heard End of Watch is pretty good. Like there is, it's 1 out of like 10, and that's not good enough, to be honest. So obviously this is going to be crap because he doesn't make good films. He doesn't. Well, we saw that in Suicide Squad and Bright.
I think Bright is a better example because Bright, he didn't have a studio interfering with him, and so Bright is his movie, and Bright is awful. Now. He keeps talking about Suicide Squad like it's not my movie. You know, wait till you see my. He's trying to like muster up support a la the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. No one wants to see your cut.
Just like, hey man, just give it up. It's fine. Like the Snyder Cut, I get it. Like people want to see that. It was a huge shift in creative vision, but I can't see. Like I don't care how like. He would have to, the work he would have to do on that movie, it's still him directing it. Like, he still directed that film. Yes, it was cut probably differently from how he perceived it, but it's not one of those movies that you can go in and save with a few different edits, like, or a change of soundtrack or anything like that, which the soundtrack did suck, but I don't think that's going to fix it. It's like, that's the movie. Like, the movie still at its core has deep, deep problems. So I don't, as much as it would be interesting to watch because, at the end of the day, like we've said this before, I wanted these movies to be good. So at the end of the day, if I get to see an opportunity to maybe see a better version of them, I will still watch them.
Yeah, absolutely. A remake with a completely different cast and a completely different director.
Well,
that's what I want to see.
We're all just we're crossing our fingers for the James Gunn one because that's probably going to be good.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, we know James Gunn works well in that environment. He works well in a team setting. He works well with that juggling of And
he'd be great to give us some R-rated kind of humor as well.
Exactly.
A little bit.
Yeah, he can adult it up a little bit. I'm not a fan of this guy.
Yeah, fair deal. Yeah, I don't think anyone is.
And
it has to be. How does he keep making films then?
Because it's all like the streets, like tough kind of like, look at how real this movie is. We get to the nitty gritty of what it's like to be a cop and what it's like to be a criminal, and and he does the same thing. He does this kind of like two people just on the job, like. This is, and we haven't talked about this movie
Training
at all.
Day.
But he's doing Training Day. No. He's doing End of Watch. Like he loves that. Bright. He loves that that kind of aesthetic. We have one from one angle and one from the other, and they clash, but they all end up in the nitty gritty of the crime streets. And and everything is not as it seems, and it's just kind of. I'm like, how many times can you keep making the same movie with just a different?
Different cast. He either really likes it or he just doesn't know anything else. That's the thing.
Maybe. Or he's still maybe trying to make the one, like the one that is the one. Because like none of Training Day, I don't think look, I haven't seen Training Day in forever. Is that movie any good anymore?
It's not bad. Like it's not bad, but you got to remember it was the first one of those. Yeah. It was it was, and we're not talking like first buddy cop movie because it's not a buddy cop movie. It's a rookie and a grizzled old person who takes him out and shows him the ropes. That's what we're talking about. It's not Lethal Weapon. It's not Die Hard. It's not anything like that. It's got its own kind of subgenre. So Training Day, I still kind of back because it was really good for its day. Like when it came out, blew everyone away. Everyone was like, "Whoa, this is decent." Now you've seen it that many times, that same reiteration of that same plot that you're like, "Okay, yep. What's different about this?" Oh, this time you've got Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, great, cool.
Yeah.
And it's through a camera. Yeah, cool. Any different though? No. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe. And I mean, that's not fair. It's not fair to judge Training Day for that because. Yeah. Being the first is a good thing, and that's actually something I think we're gonna mention a lot later in this episode, Nicholas.
That's true.
How something gets watered down because you've seen it so many times, but then going back to the original of that kind of wet and dampens your experience of watching it. But aside from all that, I don't enjoy his like. This is how it really is, man, aesthetic. Like, all these dialogue is really like, it's really in your face, man. It's all hardcore and everyone swears and everyone's dirty. It's rough and like, they'll fuck you up, man. I just don't care. I really don't care.
But that's the thing. Like, even though, like, I've seen Fury, I've heard good things. The only thing I've heard good things about of his movies is End of Watch. So I'm going to watch. Did hear that was I haven't seen End of Watch. I'm going to watch End of Watch. I'm going to watch Sabotage again because I need to go in going, hang on a minute. Did I like it or was I just fanboying Arnold Schwarzenegger from my childhood?
And that's fair enough. Have you seen Street Kings?
I haven't, no.
Street Kings I don't mind. And like I said, Keanu goes a long way to kind of making that watchable. But I remember it being kind of like just fun. It's the same shit though. Like it's the same crooked cops and they're real scumbags, but maybe they're
it's all set in LA.
It's all set in LA.
Always
and
in LA.
Sweaty and hot, and there's like rap music and everyone shoots each other, and it's just
and that's great.
I don't know. That's just maybe I'm just not up for those kind of movies,
that's
man.
Great. Yeah, fair enough.
And look, just because you chuck an orc and some fairies into that, it does not make a good movie either.
Man. Come on, it totally does. No,
nah, it doesn't. Unfortunately, I can't believe there's a second one of that coming out after how everybody just like it was a joke that movie.
Shit, exactly.
But apparently, Netflix they made a bucket out of that. So, and now we're getting Bright 2.
Bright 2, Pig in the City.
That has
new
become,
batch.
yeah, I like that has become your favourite sequel. Everyone else can have Electric Boogaloo or whatever it is.
No, exactly.
You get Pig in the City.
I get Pig in the City.
And do you know
That's
what?
right.
You're not far off because Joel Edgerton in that movie kind of looks like a pig man.
Looks like a pig man.
Yeah, because
I saw some shots.
Yeah, he's doing the big orc nose and tusks thing. So, Bright 2, Pig in the City. You're right.
Bright 2, Pig in the City. Yeah, he wins.
He does.
Exactly. He does.
Nick, we didn't really talk about this movie a lot. Who's in it? Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Now, where do you sit with Shia? Because I think I'm one of the only ones that backs him. Only in the Transformer movies, though, because that's all I've seen him in.
Sure.
I haven't really seen him in anything else. Like, he's really, he's trying hard. You got to give him props for trying, especially because where he's got to come from. Like, he's hasn't set himself up well. He's gone through, some major personal shit, and he's still trying to put something out there.
I like where he's heading at the moment because it seems to be that he's kind of, taking some more interesting, challenging roles, I guess.
Yeah.
I like him on screen. I just don't have a lot of patience for his nonsense.
Yeah, right.
Away from that. And, that's okay. That's how he chooses
his personal life.
To do his thing.
Yeah, sure.
I don't need to know about an art installation where he sits and watches all his movies and that's fine, man. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. But that's
you do that. I'm going to go.
That's
I'm
it.
going to go over here.
I'm going to go watch some an actual movie. So but I'm more than happy for I think it's really cool that he's kind of expanding his choices and doing interesting stuff and more kind of art housey things. And like I said, I think he's pretty good at what he does. It's just he's had to go the long way around to shake this kind of teen heartthrob
off.
And he's kind of someone and we I know we bring him up a lot, but someone like Robert Pattinson has really done a very good job shrugging that without having to make a weird statement in his personal life either.
Weird headlines, exactly.
So there are obviously there's ways to do it, and it seems that Shia's just kind of gone the long way around. But if it means that he gets to kind of make some cool movies now, then at least we got that.
Exactly. I want to see Honey Boy, and I want to see the Peanut Butter Falcon as well. I heard they're both really good.
Aside from that being the worst title for a movie of 2019 or whatever it was.
Absolutely. Yeah. And did you watch Lawless?
I never did, man. No, I never did. And it's I really want to see that because that's John Hillcoat, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's written by Nick Cave, our Nick Cave.
Yeah, Australia's own.
Australia's Nick Cave. Yeah, he's ours.
Yeah.
We bags him. So I don't know. I kind of like Shia. So, yeah. To be honest, Tyson and I may go on a bit of a David Ayer watch, pump some stuff out, maybe watch some things after my Bond marathon, which is kind of taking a pause for a moment because I need to amp myself up for GoldenEye. But, apart from that, Tyson, I don't know, maybe some David Ayer watching.
Why not? Why not? I mean,
find out if there's. You know what I like to do?
Movies.
I like to watch some real crappy movies and then just watch something insanely decent. And you go, "Fuck, that was really good."
Yeah, it's good
because it just shines a light on how good they are.
If you watch too many good movies in a row, you just start to take them for granted.
Exactly, you get numb. That's why the people who have to, vote for which Oscar movie gets Best Picture need to, they need to watch Suicide Squad, and then watch one of the nominated movies.
You're totally right.
That was
because when we're doing our big Oscars binge, if I go back and watch and look at my ratings, some of them are really harsh.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like
the Two Popes. I think the Two Popes is actually really good. I rated it really harshly, and I went back, and because I watched it with a friend of mine, she was like, Nick, remember when we watched Two Popes? That was actually really good. It's really stuck with me. And in my head, I was watching it going, fuck, when is this over so I can watch something decent? Come on. And I did not give it its time. And it's actually not a bad film. So yeah,
fair.
I need to watch more.
You got to change our viewing habits, Nicholas, around Oscar time.
Change it up.
Yeah.
Change it up.
We'll watch Suicide Squad once a day as a palate cleanser.
Pass.
Yeah, never in a million years.
Pass. Can I just watch Twilight? I'll watch
Hey, well, at least there's 4 of them. Or 5 of them. There's 5 of them. That'll keep you busy.
All right, I'm not... No. I'm not watching all 5.
If you watch half of a Twilight movie in between each of the Twilight? 10 nominated Oscar films, there you go.
Jesus Christ. All right, how about I watch that and mix it up with 50 Shades of Grey?
Oh, gonna get a bit sexy.
Because I heard that's fun.
Oh yeah, apparently.
Tyson.
Yes, Nick.
Shall we talk? Shall we do our feature press?
I think that's a wonderful idea.
And now for our feature presentation.
For generations, the Thorns have been a family of tremendous wealth, position, and power. The perfect marriage of Ambassador Robert Thorne and his wife Catherine was fulfilled by the birth of their son, Damien. And then, when the child was 5 years old, something terrible happened. And then it happened again. Was it an accident? Was it murder? Was it a coincidence? Or was it an omen?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
20th Century Fox presents a film of psychological suspense about an occurrence of earth-shaking importance. Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, The Omen.
I was at the hospital, Mr. Thorne, the night your son was born. I saw its mother.
I have fears. I have fears.
What kind of fears? Its mother, Mr. Thorne.
You saw my wife.
Its mother.
What is it you're trying to say?
His mother was a...
This is not a human child. Make no mistake.
There are those who will die for him. There are those who will kill for him. Who is he? What does he want? Where did he come from? And can he be stopped? Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, The Omen. If this is the truth, where does it end?
All right, Nicholas. So this is a fun segment that we only really do during Halloween, but we're going to crack it out tonight. This is Everything Old is New again. We are going to talk about The Omen from 1976, and then we're going to jump right into a conversation about the 2006 remake.
That's true.
Or we can just talk about them both at the same time. Or I always forget how we do this.
Exactly.
Yeah. We do muddle it up, don't we?
We do. We muddle it up.
Well, it just depends now because I'm not sure if I used to put the trailers in when we did this last time.
Really?
I'm not sure how I did it. Whether or not I saved, if I put them both up front or if I put them in halfway through, but we'll figure it out. I mean, naturally though, we are going to talk about the original mostly first, with obviously some kind of side notes to the remake. So this was my first viewing. Nick, was this your first viewing?
It was my first viewing of The Omen.
Yeah,
I got told by my wife that when we were in LA on our honeymoon, I got really ill for one day because I ate something really gross.
And
she, while I was passed out, she watched the remake without me.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, maybe she watched the original.
Sure.
No, she watched the original. That's right.
Yep.
And I don't remember shit. So yeah,
it was like a fever dream to you.
There's nothing worse than watching a movie while having a fever. Have you ever done that, Tom?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any movie that sticks out?
It's right up there with watching a movie while you're hungover on a plane.
Pass.
Which was Sunshine for me, Danny Boyle's Sunshine. I've only ever seen that hungover on a plane. And the way that movie goes, that's basically a fever dream in a fever dream. So I was
Why do you watch
struggling.
such a bright fucking movie?
It was just the one that we picked. I don't know.
That's gold. I love it. Mine was, for some reason, I was I literally have a fever. I had a massive cold and I was just coming in and out of consciousness. And my brother was watching Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, God.
And I'd never seen it before. And I was like, fucking, what is going on?
That will mess you up.
It was so good.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Oh, God. But yeah.
So, Nick, why do you think you stayed away from this one for so long?
Because I thought that it was a Chucky ripoff for years. I thought it was Damien. I thought it was Damien was being the one who would be and killing off everyone. Or like the end of Pet Sematary, how Gage comes back to life and starts killing off everyone. I thought that's what the Omen was going to be.
Interesting.
So I was pleasantly surprised when, because I think that this story, the crux of the kind of the story of the Omen is actually quite good. I feel. I just think maybe what was shown wasn't the best way to do it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get into what I mean later, I think.
No, I'm kind of with you there.
You know what I
I
mean?
think overall thoughts, and this was my first viewing too. Overall thoughts was that I came away not really feeling strongly either way about the movie. Like, it was funny, like, I thought for a movie that has such a huge reputation and is kind of spoken of in the same sentences as some of these classic horror movies from the 60s and 70s.
Like The Exorcist.
This is up there with The Exorcist. Psycho, Rosemary's Baby. Like, it's that pedigree. It's that kind of, you want to watch a horror movie from this era, these are the ones to choose from. And, which, I guess it earns to a degree. I don't know.
It would have been my first note was the fact that it had a Rosemary's Baby feel to it. It's definitely a thing. The other thing was that back in the day, this would have been haunting as fuck. This would have been quite scary because 76. Absolutely. We had Psycho, but that was kind of the first flash in the pan.
I think we do need to. Sorry, man, you go.
No, that's right. We're not getting into the Friday the 13th or Halloween's yet. We haven't hit that stroke. So yeah, this would have been quite scary.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where you've got to insert yourself into the time period because obviously things were a lot, atmosphere and strange kind of occurrences were more effective than they perhaps are now because we're so accustomed to them. So you watch something like this now and you're kind of like, yeah, look, it's not scary by any stretch. I think it does effectively set up some great atmosphere, which I think...
Yeah, heightened tension, seriously.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from
heightened tension.
The score, to be honest. I think the score is one of the real strong points of this movie.
Yeah, it really was. Although I went in thinking that the score was going to be something else because I remember a lot of my friends who were talking about it, who are fans of horror, would say, "Oh, have you seen Damien?" And I'm like, "No." Have you seen The Omen? And I'm like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." And then they'd be like, "Yeah, you listen to it for the score." And I'm like, "No." And I'm like, "When? Come on, I'm waiting for that to happen." But it didn't happen. That's not to say that the score wasn't awesome.
It really sold it because I was thinking of some of those moments and thinking, what would it be like if there was no music playing? And I think I think it would be kind of laughable at points without that score in there because it does have a real 70s vibe and I think it's kind of silly. I think it's funny because some of the reviews I was reading was like, it has no sense of humor. It's like it plays everything dead serious, and I'm like, I don't think I was watching the same movie. It feels really silly to me, but in a way that it's like kind of a bit come along for the ride silly. You know what I mean?
Okay, right. No, I thought it did. I agree with kind of the reviewers a bit. It did play it dead on the line for me. But I think it needed to be quite serious in order to, otherwise it's just going to be laughable. Like some of the things that are happening, like a demon dog is going to be, kind of laughable if you don't take it seriously enough.
Well, I'll rephrase and say that stuff like some of the dialogue and some of the the names of places. Like we kept laughing every time they mentioned that Boogie Yaga or whatever, Boogie Hagan.
Boogie Yaga,
I was like, where do they come up with this stuff? Like this is, and that priest, because every line of his dialogue almost would get a chuckle if it wasn't so like deadpan in his delivery.
Yeah,
like,
it's so true. He was weird.
And so, I think it juggles this fine line where it's kind of like it plays it really straight, but the material itself is inherently silly. And so you kind of, the score, I think, sells its legitimacy a little bit, because the score is doing this like Latin,
massively
kind of stuff. And you're like, all right, well, maybe I'm meant to be taking this seriously. Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. It very, very religious vibes. The score was very good.
Yeah.
What else have I got? So starting off, was it Gregory Peck?
It was Gregory Peck.
I didn't realize it was Gregory Peck. I was like, the Pecker. Awesome.
Yeah, look, and I've got to be honest, I haven't really seen anything that he's been. I know he's like this old school classic Hollywood actor, but I haven't seen a ton of his stuff. And so it makes it weird to kind of watch him in this role, because this is very much at the end of his career. And
it is. Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I felt like he was kind of miscast a little bit.
Oh, okay, he was a little bit, wasn't he? He when the movie started, I thought that his wife was his daughter. I was like, oh, you're a little old to be. But then again, you're looking at it like men in '76. Like me, what I look like now, people would go, oh, fuck, yeah, he's 50-something. That's just the way that it was. People looked older in the 70s.
Yeah, but I think because he was getting on at that point, though. Like, he was legit getting old.
Yeah. Oh, so you think that maybe he was they were doing a bit of a James Bond?
It feels a little bit like Roger Moore in James Bond. It does. And it kind of, it weakens it a little bit for me, because it makes it seem like he's like, I know this was part of the intention of the movie, is that, like, because Donna's talked about how he wanted it to feel like that it could have gone either way, that it wasn't legitimately happening. It might have been his neurosis taking over. But for me, it kind of feels like he's just a kind of a bit senile. He's not, there's no urgency to him. He's not physically like capable of really processing this information. He's kind of just pottering about, going from location to location without any kind of agency.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I kind of like, I know it's Gregory Peck, and it's kind of, sacrilege to say, but I didn't really like him in this.
No, neither did I. He was kind of bland and very cardboard. You're right. He didn't really. It's not as if, like, when he said, spoilers for the Omen, when he said he was going to start, the way to kill Damien is to stake him in a cross-like fashion. And he said, well, I'm going to do this to a child. I was like, you don't give two rats' ass, do you? You don't care at all. Like, there wasn't really a lot of emotion in him. He was very cardboardy.
No, well, and it's funny, because I read that he had an argument with Richard Donner about wanting to show more emotion and be more kind of involved in it, and Donner kind of talked him out of it. And I don't know if the other way would work, because it almost seems like he's kind of sleepwalking through a little bit of it.
Really
which is strange, because I don't doubt. I'm not saying that he's not great at what he does by any stretch, but it's just a weird kind of separation from the character for me. Like, where I'm just kind of watching and I'm like, yeah, I just see an old man kind of pottering around. I don't see a character.
I agree,
and so it lessens some of the like. I mean, jumping to the end, which I know we love to do. I do feel like the last 20 minutes or so, the kind of the siege in the house, I guess you can call it. Yeah. So that whole sequence, I think it's finally the moment where, like, he actually behaves with any kind of like urgency at all. He actually kind of takes a bit of ownership of it and does anything, which I really like that last sequence. I think it's really great. And like, compared to the remake, which I think kind of botches that sequence. You could, like, it's shot well. It's like he's really calm. There's barely any dialogue, and it's all really effective because he's actually kind of doing something, you know, like he's taking steps and he's being kind of proactive about the situation. It's just it feels like a really long movie of people just letting stuff happen to them.
Absolutely. I read also, like what you said before, that Donna wanted it to be either side. Maybe the Gregory Peck character was making it up. Maybe it was all in his mind. And even though they do find the birthmark of the 666 on his head, you know, even after seeing that, I still want him. I reckon they could have played more in both the original and the remake, played more with the fact that it could all just be horseshit. You know
I agree. I actually thought that was kind of the angle they were going for. Like, that's the way they painted it really early on. But then you have stuff like, you have this maid who is clearly evil. Like, she's not, you know, there's
like from the get-go.
No
like,
bones
not
about
even...
it. You watch that one, she's like, oh, well, she's evil. And I think the remake kind of tried to soften that a little bit.
Yeah, they did. But you can't, like, in after watching the original, my favorite bit about it was that nanny. She was my favorite bit.
She was wonderful
because she scared the absolute shit out of me.
Oh yeah, she's fucking crazy.
She was petrifying.
But I think that's you know, and you know, I don't know how many times in this movie I was watching and I'm just like, well, get the fuck out, like fire the nanny. Like, she's clearly fucked.
I know. But when they're going to the wedding.
I mean,
when they're going to the wedding,
surely that's just like, oh well, no, you're fired.
Sorry, your son would rather go to the park than go to the wedding that you've planned and you all dolled up for.
Yeah, but
he's going to the wedding.
We want him to come to the wedding. Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, you're fired.
Cool. You're fired. We'll see you later. I'll get my son. I'll do it myself.
Exactly. Thanks a bunch for your time. We'll give you 2 weeks' pay and get the fuck out.
God damn it! Not even that. You get 1 week's pay.
And yeah, so it's funny. Like, so yeah, I guess we're kind of agreeing that it's the sense that it's like, I get why he wanted it to be that way, because that would make a more interesting movie. But at the same time, they really haven't sold that. So you're kind of stuck with half a movie in like half.
Exactly.
The intentions are all wrong, because we as the audience, we're not idiots. We, you know, and we've seen the same. We've seen the same shit they have seen. There's only a few elements that we've seen without them also witnessing it. But we've seen more than enough to have her fired, to have Damien put into some kind of like, you know, foster home or something, or you know, there's nothing about this movie that makes sense that it would go as far as it does. You know what I mean? Without someone going, hey, hold up a second.
Absolutely. Like, they didn't even. You're so right. They didn't even try. Like, at the start, when the first nanny jumps off the roof, don't have the sequence where she's clearly being tormented by the dog or being told to do it by the dog. Like, don't have that. Have us kind of piece it together. Like, why the fuck did she jump off there? Have us question something. It was all just kind of laid out nicely, and we were like, well, clearly he's the devil, and you need to kill him.
Yeah,
we don't care.
You know, if you're going to put the dog in. Like, and I said this as well, the score sounded like at that moment, it sounded like, you know, the bit in Kill Bill when she sees one of the ones that killed. That's what the score started doing, and I was like, well, okay.
But it totally
if you wanted to have
us
any kind of doubt whatsoever, you've just ruined it, because we clearly know that's Devil Dog.
That's so Devil Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. It could have just been a dog.
It could have just been a dog. It could have been and instead it's got like this slow, or like actually pretty fast whip fucking zoom in, and this siren parts of the score, and it's like, well, that's clearly evil. And so
Evil Dog.
Sounds like
we
some
fucking
kind of
know
superhero.
now. You've ruined the movie, and that was like fucking 10 minutes in, not even 5.
I was under the impression that scene
bad.
happened really late in the movie, because that's an iconic scene from this movie that pops up in all kinds of.
I don't know. Shit.
I've seen that 100 times in like horror movie documentaries and stuff like that. So I knew that scene existed. I just assumed it was really late in the movie, because it's such a great moment that it's like, oh shit, this is 10 minutes into this movie, and you just blew the best moment in the movie probably. It's now, how are you going to follow this up?
Exactly. Good luck. What do you got? You got a dog and a nanny. Well, the nanny kind of follows it up, because she is, my God, she was petrifying.
Look, she was great.
She was the best bit about the original Omen. She really was. And especially because, like, when and this goes for the remake as well, I put it in, Tyson. I was ready to watch the Omen. I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to watch the movie. where the Damien child is the devil. Here we go. And I was waiting for like killer shots of him just being evil, or just sitting there and just staring dead into the lens with, like, I don't know, the shadow of a fucking demon behind him or something. Something. Give me something, or just give him like a slow shot dead into the eyes. We got nothing. This kid was fine. This kid just needed to play. He was fine. Like, even with the remake, like, especially in the scene where he's just playing PlayStation and he gets when he gets taken out of the room and he turns back and is supposed to shoot her like devil eyes, but instead he's just like, "Hey, Mum, what's up?"
Yeah, exactly.
That was a pretty mean move.
I did have a giggle at that because he's playing what looks like a PlayStation 3, but the sound effects coming out sounded like an Atari,
yeah,
Commodore 64.
So true.
I was like, what game is he playing? Has he got like this retro emulator on or something?
He's playing Pog. Yeah, he's playing Pog.
Exactly.
So good.
No, that made me giggle. No, you're right.
So yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the Damien, man.
Yeah,
come on.
I think in both cases, yeah, you're right. I think and this is the thing, and it comes. I think that's I didn't not like this movie though. I just want to highlight that by saying I came away at the end of it being like, yeah, look, I had a good time watching this, but I can understand why it's kind of not. I mean, it is mentioned in the same breath, but it's never anyone's favorite of these kind of movies. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's true. It's up there. People like it, but
I don't think anyone's going to say that they like it more than The Exorcist or that it's better than Rosemary's Baby or whatever. I think it kind of exists in that same conversation, but it's everybody's like third favorite, everybody's third or fourth favorite. I can see why, because I think it's got a lot of it's a movie that keeps arguing with itself about what it wants to be, and so it ends up never being either of them really effectively until maybe the last 20 minutes, which I really think was fucking great. Like,
yeah, it was really good, especially because the score was fucking doubling down at that point.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, Jesus Christ, this is going off.
And it got to be like, but that's
it
decided that it was going to be all right. No more dialogue. It's going to just be a guy in his own house trying to get this kid out with a crazy nanny and a fucking evil dog, and it was it was really great and really effective, and the score just allowed but that was one of those moments I imagined when the nanny jumps on his back and starts trying to beat him up, and this is when they're in the kitchen, and in my head I was like, imagine this with no score, this would be hilarious. It's amazing how much that score adds to the like the tension and the effectiveness of it, because there's not a lot going on that's actually scary. It's only the music that's telling you what should be scary. It's making
the tension. Exactly. It's making that tension.
Yeah.
Especially with like the fact that he comes into the room with the scissors, and it's tension, and it's almost quiet.
Yeah.
And then, the dog attacks, and you're like, what the fuck? This dog again. My God.
That shot of the dog just walking slowly down the hallway was incredible. And I really loved it. I was like, that's something else. Like, it just looked so good. And the shadow and the backlight on it was so perfect. But yeah, I think that's this movie the whole way through though. We're not scared unless the music tells us to be scared. Which I think, which is a really like. Obviously, there are moments like, I mean, when David Warner gets his head sliced off, like, we know that's.
Yeah, was it scary though?
No, there's a shock element to it, because I mean, you see it coming, but there is a shock element to it, because it's a great like dummy effect. It's really pretty fucking cool.
It is. It was really good. They did it well, especially for 76. Like, Jesus Christ, it was good.
And so you watch that, and you're kind of like,
I think the graveyard.
Oh yeah, the graveyard. Graveyard's pretty cool.
I think the graveyard was probably the scariest part if you were going for scary, but that's because the tension was high, and then all of a sudden they got mauled by not 2 dogs but fucking 10, and I was like, Jesus Christ, get out now. Like, even if it wasn't like the Omen and all of this stuff, devil dogs, if 10 dogs attack you, fucking run. Like, fully run, man. Jesus
it's a good point. No one wants to be caught in that shit.
And I think I'm a sucker for like a cemetery set as well. Like, that cemetery was definitely a set.
It's a great 1950s. Like, it feels like it's classic Universal Monsters like horror.
Absolutely.
Cemetery
You're going to see like a bat. you're gonna see like a bat on a string at the top of the corner, like thing. Like,
they were working the haze machines overtime to get all that atmospheric fog. I'm with you there. And look, it's I think some of that stuff, when they do want to set good atmosphere, when the score's pumping, I think it really works. It does. It just ends up what ends up happening is that you've got Gregory Peck, who feels like he's kind of on, like on 50%. You've got some pretty bad dialogue, like really naff at times, where you're just like, oh, okay, here we go. Like I honestly, I laughed out loud. We both laughed out loud when we were watching it. When the priest was like, "You need to go to Mugati and talk to Booba Yaga and all that kind." I was like, "Oh God, what are we doing? What is this nonsense?"
It's right, and he doesn't like it, especially because the priest doesn't set anything up. Like, if you're going to see someone and tell them that their son is the devil or spawn of the devil or whatever, you need to build it with something. Build the story. Tell him why he's there, what he's gone through,
soften the blow.
Instead of just coming in and going, "Your wife is going to die unless you meet me in the park. I'll see you later. Bye." And kind of leave. And you're like, dude.
You're like, dude, I'm not coming to meet you.
Exactly. And then when he gets there, he just starts reading scripture.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, oh, dude, what the fuck,
Might as well be talking in
you're
tongues.
Not selling us at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're not selling us at all.
You want me to take you seriously right now, buddy, but I'm this close to calling the cops on you and like saying there is a crazy man trying to talk to me right now.
There's a crazy man dressed as a priest running around with his dick out. Exactly.
I know. Exactly. Exactly. It's like, how about you just come in and go, look, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but you got to give me a second. Just let me finish my spiel. Exactly. I know it's going to be really weird. Just give me a 5-minute spiel and let me get to the end of it. And then at the end of that, you'll see I'm calm, collected, and we'll be able to take it from there. Because I know that this information I'm about to tell you is pretty wild.
It's going to be fucked up. It's going to be fucked up.
Instead, he's like, you got to get some daggers from Bugatti at the Boogie Yaga and you got to kill your son.
And then the wind is picking up and you're like, oh, fuck, run.
Run. And you're like, it's raining. Go. We have to leave now. Oh, God.
You're like, what are you... Stop. Oh,
yeah, no shit. He's like, you need to get out of my office. Like, right now.
Go away.
Jeez, that's funny. Yeah, I'm with you.
I have a question. I have a question. Because I totally forgot. I obviously watched it, but how did the wife die in the original? Did she die?
Yeah, the wife got thrown out of the hospital window by the maid.
That's right.
So her death, which is fantastic. Every now and then, Richard Donner is on point in this movie. Every now and then,
he was on the ball.
Like, you just go, oh, that is fucking great. Like the shot of her landing in the ambulance, and it knocks the door open, and the camera just pans in on her fucking dead. I was like, that is mint, Donner. You've nailed
Donner.
that.
Well done.
Which is a technique I believe he kind of pinched or used again for the suicide in Lethal Weapon. You know, the slow panning at the end of when she jumps into the... What does she jump into? What does she jump into? A pool?
No, she drops... No, she hits a car.
She hits a car. Right. I couldn't remember what happened, but he did the same thing where it's like the hit happens and then there's that slow pan into it.
So true.
I just, and that moment, what was the other bit that I really loved what he did? Oh, I loved her... when she fell to the ground, the effect that they used for that, when she fell from when she was trying to fix the flower pot.
Oh, yes.
And they did that weird shift of perspective where which I read later was the foreground, the background coming into the foreground. Like they had it on a weird kind of like a suspension system so that she wasn't actually falling. She was doing like a theater trick, which is, I have actually, funnily enough.
So good.
I've been involved in a show where someone used that exact same trick to display falling. Someone just jumped, all the actors ran away, and then the set piece behind them came straight up, pushed to the front, and they just kind of waved around and went, oh, and then hit the set piece, and it looked really great. And I was like, oh my God, that's the same fucking effect.
The same thing.
Yeah. But in this, because
it worked really well.
Yeah, you get that camera angle on it, and it just it doesn't look right, but based in the circumstances, you kind of just go, no, but that's because it's kind of it suits the weirdness of it. Like you accept it because it feels a little bit off, but everything that's happening is a bit off, so it feels fine.
Goes with the house as well. That house in the original was quite eerie.
Yeah, the house did carry a lot of
it had a feeling to it.
Yeah.
Had a feeling to it. Whereas, like what you said with the camera angle and the drop, that in the remake and the house in the remake, I was like, oh, you guys miss. You missed that. You missed that.
Unfortunately, I'd agree. That the house in the remake just made me want to live there because I was like, this fucking house has open fireplaces in every room. This is the best. I would never be cold.
Tall ceilings, man. No, tall ceilings. You need those fucking fireplaces but
seriously,
all the time.
Imagine being in the living room with an open fireplace and going, all right, it's time to go to bed, and you walk in your bedroom and there's another open fireplace going.
Oh, there's a fireplace. Yeah, that's true.
Good.
That was quite nice. Plus, the bathroom was odd.
No, but that was her dream sequence bathroom.
Dream sequence. Right. I forgot.
Because I was the same. I saw that and I was like, is that a fucking bathroom? No, it's a dream sequence.
Yeah, no. You're like, what is that in the middle? Is that a bath?
What is that in the middle? You're right.
You know what it looked like? It looked like have you been in a floating pod?
Yes.
Have you ever been in one of them? It looked like one of them.
Sensory deprivation pods.
Exactly. I thought, this bitch is super rich.
Oh, no, that's how rich they are.
Like a floating pod. She's got a floating pod in her house. God damn it. That's next level rich.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Hey, man, well, they're ambassadors to London or whatever for the US government. I'm sure there's some serious coin floating around.
Massive coin.
Oh, dear.
Massive. Did you see his car? My God.
So, Nick, was this like the first movie to use 666 as a thing?
I think it was, yes.
Because that doesn't work anymore.
as in use the fact that the number of the devil is 666.
Yeah. I think it's become such a cliche now.
Yeah, I think this was the first movie. I think heavy metal music had been doing it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not that long.
A little bit of death. A little bit of what's it called? Not death metal. Dark metal. Is that the one where it's just it's just like that slow plodding.
Melodic,
stuff, and someone just going,
satanic metal.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Doom metal. That's what it is.
Doom metal. Yeah. No, I don't think because in '76, if my heavy metal history is correct,
hadn't really taken off yet.
It would not really know. It'd be like Sabbath was the thing, but you maybe had some Ronnie James Dio in there, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
And he was the first one. He invented the horns.
Oh yeah,
the hand signal, your pinky and your.
When was Number of the Beast? Iron Maiden, was that early 80s?
Yeah, I think that was 80s. Yeah. I need to double check now. Well, speaking of that, because you brought it up, that album cover is burned into my brain because of my father. My dad had that on vinyl, and I studied the shit out of it. And
I feel like Iron Maiden have 47 albums, so I've never been able to distinguish between them because all I know is the skeleton guy who has a name, and I can't remember his name now.
Eddie. His name's Eddie. Eddie the Head.
He's on every album cover, so I know him. But I can't tell you what's around him at any point.
Fair deal. Yeah, 82.
Okay, so there you go. So
it was a while, yeah.
I think, so it's hard to watch it now because that seems so dumb now because you're just kind of like, it's such a cliche. But
it does, but it was the first one to do
it.
What I mean,
so, but it's not like, and I know this is my fault. And I'm not saying this is the movie's fault in any way. But I watch it now and I'm just kind of like, all right, 666, whatever, fucking,
But do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Stigmata and End of Days, how they go, 666 is actually 999. Because both of those movies came out in 1999. And I was like, oh, God, that's just well done.
Flip it on its head. Like, quite literally, flip it on its head. Yeah, but so it's kind of like I'm watching it and I'm like, oh God, I wish it was just something that wasn't quite so overdone now because it ends up reflecting back on that movie as kind of lame, and it's not fair because the movie doesn't deserve that because this is my perception of it. But if it was something else, if it was just like if the birthmark was more like a devil head or some kind of like gross
pitchfork
kind of like I guess a pitchfork, why not? I mean that's kind of lame too, but
it could be something else. But you know what I mean? Gonna say gross what?
I don't know, like some kind of like I don't know, something gross. Violent, something
Oh, okay.
Which like almost like a Rorschach painting of someone getting like their throat slit or something, so that it was so it didn't feel quite so. Oh, it's just it's the 6 on the nose. Yeah, because it is on the nose. It smells.
It is.
And
it
kind of takes me out of it.
didn't like how the 666s were all in kind of like a circle thing.
That was better.
Rather than be like
yes.
like 666 all in a line. Because I thought, yeah.
I agree. You're right. It made it slightly better because they could angle it in a way where it didn't necessarily look like numbers. It looked more like a pattern. But I think just the idea of 666, and like I said, it's not the movie's fault. It's my fault because I'm just this movie was made 40 years ago, and
exactly
we find that stuff kind of lame now, and so
we do.
I can't help it.
And that's the thing. That was my major takeaway from the Omen, the original, was the fact that I was like, this would have been great. Like even if we'd watched it, Tyson, back in the 90s, like early video store days, it probably still would have had a little bit of cadence or something like that.
I think
it would have held a little bit more. But
I think a stormy night with the lights off and the right crowd, this movie would play really, really
exactly.
well.
But now that we've seen things like Scream and Hereditary and everything in between, this kind of doesn't hold a light anymore.
No, it feels kind of lightweight, and also because we are, whether or not this is a huge element to it or not, but we live in a world now where we're far more acceptable of the idea of religion being a complete con. And so, while in the 70s, everyone was a lot more, God-centric, I guess. And atheism was like this tiny little pocket of a belief system. Whereas now, more than half the population of Australia, at least, recognize themselves as atheists. And so, when people talk about the son of the devil and 666, we kind of just brush it off as nonsense. Having said that doesn't mean that those people don't have a spiritual side. And so if it was something that was more like the essence of evil, not like necessarily this religious kind of element, would maybe be able to connect to it more.
I would have loved, and that's the thing, even going back to what we said at the very start of this episode, the fact that it's a good premise. Had they worked it a lot more, have the couple be atheists, do you know what I mean? Have them not believe, at all. Not that having to believe means anything, but you're going to see some things that happen with your son that make you believe in God.
I think immediately you're dealing with more character choices by making that a character trait. I think that's an excellent idea. Having them be outwardly atheist and then having to come to terms with the fact that, yes, no, hang on. Well, because isn't that kind of the plot of Stigmata? Is that what happens in Stigmata? She doesn't believe and then she gets the Stigmata. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Yeah, and I just get it mixed up with End of Days, which I
exactly.
prefer.
Me too. Well, because I've seen End of Days 20 times and I've watched Stigmata once and was like, that's enough. No, but you're right. It suddenly makes it a completely different thing because they have to come to terms with their belief system. Whereas in this, that never seems to be a problem. It never seems to be...
Yeah, it wasn't a question.
No.
They didn't question anything.
The religious elements of it just kind of get brushed aside. Gregory Peck doesn't come to any kind of conclusion about his faith or any kind of revelation about what it means to what God means in society. He just kind of goes, oh, fuck, I'm going to kill my kid.
I better kill my kid because, kid. If I don't, he's going to kill me.
Exactly.
It was pretty thin. It's a meaty topic to and especially that would them being atheists would tie into the fact that he doesn't believe in what's happening with his son.
No, no, and they play it.
I've decided we're rewriting this, Tyson.
All right, let's rewrite this movie. We're going to do another remake of The Omen.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
nice.
It's going to be great. But we have to wait until 2066.
2066.
2066.
Are we going to be alive in 46 years, Nick? I'm not certain.
No. How about we wait for 2026? How about we wait for 2026? No, 2016.
No, we missed that
that's
one.
Ages away.
We missed 2016, unfortunately. 2116 we got coming
2116?
No. The other thing that I found this movie I found strange that both the original and the remake didn't address this, is that at no point in this movie is there an opportunity for the Robert Thorne character to have to answer to his choice at the start of the movie.
Yes.
Which I found really strange. I expected... All while watching the original, I was like, well, they're going to have a conversation at some point. They have to have a conversation at some point. Oh, no.
The wife is going to find out eventually. Yeah.
Well, I guess he got away with that one. And then...
Well done, son. Yeah.
And then in the remake, I'm like, surely they're going to... Because that's such an oversight. They'll do it in the remake.
Do it this time.
Nope. Okay, cool. And it's like she died... she dies, and look, I'm not saying he gets away with it scot-free. That's terrible because he obviously dies and his wife dies and it's all horrendous. But the fact of the matter is that at no point in her life, so she dies before she has the opportunity to know that he made an incredibly reckless decision without even consulting her. And like there should be like it should be like a double whammy. She should die. Like that's fine. That's fine that she dies. That's a plot point and that's cool. But he she dies thinking that he is a good husband. And he's not.
Yes.
He's a piece of shit.
She should find out and then die. That's the way it should be.
And she should, like, if you want to give this character any kind of, the wife character, which I think gets kind of shat on in both of these movies, if you want to give her any kind of, like, any strength, surely she gets a moment where she says, you are such a fucking piece of shit for making that decision for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
You deserve everything you're getting. Because... Yeah. It's like she dies thinking he's like the fucking greatest dude ever and king of the castle, and they're like,
But that's why she doesn't want to have the second child, because she thinks that she's spawned something of Satan, which she has every right to think. And then had she found out that no, this isn't my son, she would have then kept the child and gone, oh no, this is actually my actual baby, and we're going to have this is going to be fine. Then have the miscarry. And, come on.
Even
and
like
then he finds out
her getting the peace of mind of knowing that she wasn't mental, like that she wasn't imagining this. I think that's really, it's so important for her character, but she never got that. So she died thinking that she was the crazy one. And so the husband character in both of these gets away with that. And I think that's a really strange choice that neither of them took the time to maybe say, hey, that's probably worth addressing.
It's true.
And look, in the 76 one, I kind of felt like there's a real strain through it of like trophy wifeism. The way that people talk to him about his wife. I don't know if you noticed this, but like...
Yeah, I did.
The start scene, it's a really kind of like... This is the era of men getting in a room making decisions about the female characters, and it... Like,
but you knew that from the start, like the fact that he's like he's come in, he's not even in the room with the birth. His job is too important. He comes there, he goes there because I think the line is like, oh, there's something going wrong with the birth and has to come to the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's it. He would have been out having a scotch with his buddies and smoking cigars if it hadn't have all gone pear-shaped.
Yeah, and then he makes the decision. So there was very much men make the decisions in 1976.
Yeah, and when she has the fall, the conversation he has with the other doctor, I thought was really strange as well, because the other doctor, they're talking about her like she's this like baby making factory.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh well, she's not going to be having kids, and he's like, it's okay though, she's still alive, and it's kind of like there's no kind of. They're talking about her as like this thing. Like, it was so strange, and I was like, wow, that's very 76. I hope the 2006 version doesn't do this, and then it does. It did it exactly the same. I was like, oh well, exactly that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, let's finish up on 76 for 1 second.
Yeah, good.
Should we finish up? Have you got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. But you're right. We should definitely move on to the remake.
I've got, because I want to. There's so much more I want to talk about 06. But yeah, one thing lastly about 1976, when oh my god, when they're first, for starters, to show, instead of a montage, Tyson, we get stills. We get camera stills, which I've never seen in a film done before. I have never seen that. Really? I was like, oh, this is some budget. This is some budget. Quick, I've never seen that before.
The only thing I could think of is that they chose to do that because photos kind of play an important part in the plot. So I thought maybe it was setting up the importance of photography.
But they didn't look like photos.
No,
they didn't look like photos. They just looked like still shots.
They were stills from... Yeah. They basically got them in a garden and said, hey, play around for a bit. We're just going to film it for some extra coverage.
Exactly.
And then went, this looks like garbage. Let's just still shot it.
Exactly. Horrible. So yeah, that was my only... But the other one was when the still shot section finishes and they're walking beside the lake. There's that shot of them walking in the field and she's carrying, and then they're walking beside the lake and they're having a conversation. Literally, we're talking a good 2 minutes here, like a solid 2 minutes. And Damien is nowhere in sight. I'm like, oh, where's your son? And then they turn around and go, oh, where is he? and there's like a full rushing river next to him, and the thing that Damien is carrying is sitting next to the river. I'm like, this is just fucking bad parenting. That's what this is. As a parent, I do not condone this. You guys are shit.
This is another thing that I think the movie doesn't necessarily address, but it does kind of on the periphery, and I suppose by us talking about it, it means that they did kind of bring it up, is that they were not good parents to begin with, and so we shouldn't be rooting for them. Like, like I think, you know, it's and maybe this movie is saying a bit about nature versus nurture, but they're garbage parents. So
yeah, really bad.
Let's say the Antichrist was born into a really loving, caring family. I don't know. Maybe things might be different.
Maybe he was okay. Exactly.
Maybe, or at least more conflicted.
Exactly.
Whereas in this, they're garbage parents, so they kind of get what they deserve.
Yep. So yeah, that's all I wanted for 76. 2006, however, Tyson.
Yeah,
now,
so well, let's pause for a sec, because I might chuck the 2006 trailer in right now.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like that.
Damien! Look at me, Damien!
It's all for you.
What's wrong, sweetie? It's just a church, that's all.
She's sick.
He's cold as ice. What's the matter? Those other kids didn't want to play with you?
They're afraid. Hello, Damien. I'm here to protect you.
There's something about Damien.
I was at the hospital the night your son was born.
What do you know about my son?
Everything.
He bears a birthmark, a sequence of sixes.
From the eternal sea he rises, creating armies on either shore, turning man against his brother, till man exists no more. Your son, the son of the devil.
Nick, the 2006 remake. Now, just off the cuff.
Oh, sure.
Better or worse?
A lot worse.
A lot worse.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, actually, no. Let's hang on a minute. Let me rephrase. It was just worse. It wasn't a lot worse.
Okay. No, fair enough.
Okay. Only because if you're going to remake something, maybe change it up. Oh my God!
I find it amazing.
The exact same fucking thing.
People talk about that Psycho remake being shot for shot. Like this thing, this
thing was the same.
It's exactly the same.
Exact same.
I was And look, we've done a few of these. We have done a few of these, looking at the original and the remake, and I couldn't think of one that we've done so far that was just so unnecessary, because if you're going to do it, like I said, let's try and do something
Change
with
it up.
Do
Add
anything
to it,
with it.
you know.
Add to it in some way. Maybe try and like reassess some of the things that it brought up in the first movie, or maybe it's like, well, it's a different time, so let's explore some different themes while we're here. Nope.
Yes.
It was the same movie with just some different actors, some slightly different dialogue, like bare minimum that they changed, like, and only when references were no longer appropriate did they change the dialogue or relevant.
Exactly.
And some different actors.
And it was gorier, and that's about it.
And we had some dream sequences.
Oh,
which aren't really necessary.
If that's all you're bringing to the table, no, they're not. They weren't necessary at all. Like they added a bit to it, but really, like
they added some scares, because I feel like this. The thing about so we kind of talked about it. The Omen is not particularly scary. And so when you're remaking
and needed to,
they're like, oh, well, we got to make this scary. And it's like, it's not scary. So we need to get some jump scares in there. And so they added these dream sequences with these little jump scares to try and make us more unsettled by it. When in reality, it's a movie about mood and atmosphere. So it's not about the jump scares. It's got more in line with, like something like Hereditary, where, we just feel this constant kind of unease, as opposed to, weird pig head in the mirror. But yeah, I'm with you.
really
I liked
strange.
it less.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I didn't hate it though.
I didn't hate it. It was just because I'd literally just watched it the night before. Had I watched that first, I would have gone, oh yeah, cool, and watched 76 after that and gone, oh, okay, I see what you did there. I've seen this. I need to turn this off.
I'm in no way saying that Liev Schreiber is a better actor than Gregory Peck. I would never make that statement because I think that's a silly statement to make. But I think in this role, Liev Schreiber much better.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I completely agree. Especially because I love Liev Schreiber. It's his silent manner at the start, the way that he comes up to someone and says, well, yes, we'll discuss it at length and we'll find a solution.
Yeah.
You know? And the way that he talks about that, and then you go from that to a man who has to kill his son, who he actually gave a fuck about. And,
this
had a bit of a crisis on his hands.
We were talking like when we mentioned that they were shit parents in the 76 one. Like they were the textbook absent parents. Like they were the rich couple that didn't took them to the fucking zoo once, but that was like the only interaction they had of that day.
Exactly.
It was just like, are the kids in bed? Oh, great. I didn't see them at all today. I'm an excellent father.
Oh, they're not in bed? They're at boarding school? Good.
Yeah, good. Oh, when did that happen? 2 years ago? Oh, very good.
Fantastic. But
at least in the remake, they were far more involved as parents, and you actually felt like that they had a fucking stake in the kid's life.
True.
Which I
Seriously,
thought was strangely missing from that first one. But having said that, it might have been part of the point, is to say that it could have been there was an underlying commentary on that kind of parenting style, which is very old fashioned. We're not so much like that anymore, where rich people have a kid and don't see them except on seeing them for 5 minutes a day and on holidays, because nannies look after them. And at least in this movie, they kind of made a more active choice to be like, no, they're being more involved. And you actually felt like Liev Schreiber actually did care about him, which I didn't get from Gregory Peck at all.
No.
I kind of felt like he kind of played it like an old school 70s dad that when people have when people talk about their dads in the older generation and they're like, he wasn't really around. We never really talked much. We didn't have a lot in common. Yeah. That was Gregory Peck in that movie.
That was Gregory Peck. Yeah.
And so, I actually really liked Liev Schreiber in this. I thought he was great.
Yeah, that's true.
Despite the material being essentially a shot-for-shot remake of
literally just a shot-for-shot. How did you? How did you like Julia Stiles? Did you felt she brought a little bit more to the table?
I really liked her until I realised that they weren't going to do anything else with her. For a little while there, I thought they were going to flip it a little bit and make her more prominent.
Oh, sure.
Because they played in the original, they play her as the kind of clueless one and him as the skeptic. As the skeptic and him as the believer. And in this one, they started the other way around. She was more quick to be like, no, something's really wrong here.
There's something wrong.
And he was the one kind of dismissing it. Whereas in the original, she was kind of like, because they flipped that conversation about him being sick. In the old one, it's him saying, he's never been sick. Do you know that? That's kind of weird. And her going, no, it's fine. Kind of weird. And then they flipped it. And I was like, oh, maybe they're going to give Julia Stiles much more to do. But no, she's in a coma and then she dies. Exactly the same as in the original one. And I was like, oh, good. Well, that was an idea that you didn't run with at all.
Like, what the fuck, man? Come on. I have to say, no, I'll just not say. I'm not a big fan of Julia Stiles, so
we were talking about it. We were trying to figure out what we'd actually seen Julia Stiles in that wasn't 10 Things I Hate About You and Save the Last Dance.
Bourne.
Well, I said
movies?
The Bourne movies, and I was like, but what is she in the Bourne movies? She's like the CIA director. She's I couldn't tell you which ones she's in. I know she's in one of them, and Joan Allen is kind of her role in the other one. Whichever ones she's not in, Joan Allen is that role.
Joan Allen's in the other one.
Or David Strathairn also is one of them. It's one of the people that looks at monitors and says, Jason Bourne is here, we need to go get him. That's her role in those movies.
That's your role.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that that's her role. I did like, however, the Keith Jennings character, the photographer. I thought is it David Thewlis? In the remake,
Thewlis or something.
Thewlis, and Thewlis and David Warner in the original. And I like David Warner. I've seen him he props up in a lot of.
Oh yeah, he's great.
But I like that character. I thought that character was good.
Yeah, it is good. I was sad that they didn't change their dialogue at all. I was watching the scene where he talks him through the photos. And I was like, oh my God, this dialogue is word for word the same. And I was just kind of like, why are we not updating this a little bit? He made one reference to a digital print. And
that was it.
And also dismissed the thing. They don't mention the tattoo when they don't say concentration camp because it's obviously...
Oh, yeah. Concentration
Yeah. And that was the only difference. But, I was like, well, these people, you're not even trying to kind of distinguish these characters from the original, or you're just doing mirror images of them with slightly more kind of contemporary acting styles. So it just...
Yeah.
It
was really bad. It was really, yeah. I didn't mind the original did it a lot better. I think because the score was better. How was the score on the second one?
I didn't mind it. It's Marco Bertrami. He's good. He knows what he's doing. It
was okay, but it wasn't. But it wasn't the original.
No, it wasn't the same. But I think it played a similar role, though. It did amp up the tension at points pretty effectively.
Yeah, it did.
But it's not the same,
especially in that car chase scene.
It's no Goldsmith.
No, and that's why I think the last 20 minutes. So the graveyard had a little bit more tension there, especially because it was an actual graveyard this time.
As opposed to a 1950s horror movie set. Yes.
Yeah. And there was only 2 dogs. I was like, oh, okay. Everyone gets a dog each. That's a bit weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I reckon
if that's what you're going to change.
That was this movie in a nutshell. It was like, hey, do you know The Omen? Yeah, The Omen's cool. But what if we just turned everything up to 11?
Yeah.
Because nothing was the same. Like, everything just had this little extra element of, like, fucked upness. Like,
exactly.
Instead of just a spike through him, he gets, like, the stained glass window as well. Like,
fucking seriously? Like, and especially with the demon dog that they keep in the house.
Yeah.
You know what they could have done? Make it a fucking scary dog. Don't make it a black dog. Make it a fucking scary dog.
I thought it was really scary in that first shot. The way that...
Yeah.
And look, hey, we hung a little bit of shit on John Moore last week when we said we were going to do this. We were like, who directed the remake? Oh God, John Moore.
Yeah.
I think
Max Payne.
he does some pretty good stuff in this. I think this movie is well directed, and that that's blasphemous that I'm saying that John Moore might have done a better job than Richard Donner. I'm not saying that, but I don't think he did a bad job at all, because certain choices, like the way
did a passable job,
the way he shot that dog at the birthday party was really effective.
Haunting.
Except they changed the dog. Good. Then it wasn't that dog that was hanging out in the house. It was a
completely different dog. It was a completely different dog. It was a Rottweiler in the house. And that dog
as opposed
was like
to this weird, spooky German Shepherd that was all black and had like...
looks like a wolf or something.
Yeah, it was really great. And then I was like, oh, good dog. And then I was like, well, where's the fucking good dog go?
Where's the fucking... Who is this Rottweiler?
Yeah.
It's just make it a fucking scary dog. Have it like fucking scary as hell, scare it up a bit.
And look, I think they did a good job in the sense that there are obviously, like, I hadn't seen it before, but there were moments that I knew of from the original Omen. The hanging, the decapitation of the photographer, like the death of, not the death, but the falling off the balcony. I think they did a pretty good job with all of those sequences. I think they are they're updated enough that with current kind of filming techniques and special effects, you can make them a little bit more effective. And I think because they did them all practically as well, which I was like, oh, good, because I was expecting the beheading to be like a CGI fest. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It
wasn't. It was quite realistic.
Yeah,
it was quite
done
good.
really
Especially
nicely.
with that body falling down the stairs. Yeah, it was good.
That was an awkward fall. That body like slopped its way down the stairs, didn't it?
That was great. I loved it. It was completely realistic. I was like, that was really good.
Yeah.
Another thing that I actually kind of preferred in the remake was the visiting of the old priests in the monastery. The way that he looked all fucking Star Wars old head face, with a golden eye and
that was
all
some
that
good.
shit.
That was some good makeup. I liked it.
That was some good makeup. I really liked that.
It took it kind of past the point of being a burn victim, and he looked like an actual kind of like devil. And I was like, yeah,
he did. Yeah,
I'm kind of on board for that. That's okay.
I didn't mind it. Especially that monastery was scary as shit.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that.
And this is the thing. I know this remake gets a lot of shit for being really pointless, and in many ways it is. But at the same time, it's like I think they kind of used current, contemporary filmmaking techniques really effectively to amp up some of these great moments. I think the hanging is with the jumping off I think it's really great. Like, it feels really visceral, and you're like, like you can feel her neck snapping in the rope, and you're like, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
it was good.
I mean, when you've got someone like Pete Postlethwaite as well, all of that dialogue suddenly sounds far more legitimate.
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You're like, okay, I'll go see Baba Yaga or whatever the fuck his name
Baba
is.
Yaga? Yeah, sure. If you said it, I'm doing it.
He sounds like the way to go.
He does.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I'll be honest, and I think it did get some things right. I liked the opening sequence a lot as well. Just that little bit of extra exposition with the church.
Oh, with the church, yeah, I didn't mind that as well. That was quite good.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
I wanted a little bit more. Like at the end of the film, where they go back to the church, I was like, "Oh, really? Come on, you could have done a little bit better than that."
I kept waiting for this moment to distinguish itself. Sorry, I kept waiting for this movie to distinguish itself from the original. Like, I was watching the whole time thinking, oh, they're going to do this differently. And I was like, oh, no, they've done it the same. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, they're going to do this differently. Oh, no, it's exactly the same. Okay, cool. Like, even up right till the end, I was like, I had this weird feeling that they weren't going to end it the same way.
Yeah, sure.
And then they just did. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is really kind of like a strange remake because...
Fucking what?
Yeah, well, let's think about, like, we did The Fog. The Fog remake is nothing like the Fog original. Like, it's barely even... Not at all. It barely even resembles it. Like, the Carrie remake, I think, really did a really nice job. We didn't love it, but it did a really nice job of
it's because it focused on different things. Yeah, and that was fine.
It contemporized it. It showed what a contemporary Carrie would be dealing with, and it was less, less interested in some of the things that were very much of the 70s, and more interested in things that were of the 2000s and 2010s. This movie was just the 70s again. Aside from some small changes that we've already talked about, like I think as parents they were more active. I think the acting style was more naturalistic, and so it felt a little bit more. It felt a little bit more. We could relate to it a little bit more because it didn't feel quite so theatrical. But yeah, aside from that, it's not really doing anything differently.
No.
I really thought they were going to. I really thought they were going to do something with the. So, you know how they've got the poem kind of relates to certain current events?
Oh, sure.
I really thought, because I thought the clunkiest one of them in the original was the whole idea of the sea rising up, and then the photographer being like, well, some scholars consider politics. The sea to be politics. And I was like, well, that's a stretch. And then I thought, well, they'll do something with that. They'll try and kind of bridge that gap a little bit more smoothly because it feels really clunky. Yeah. And then they didn't. It was just
or find another piece of Bible to
or change the fucking quote. Well, the poem's not even from the Bible, I read. So change the fucking poem. Is the poem like? It's not like that's like.
It's not the bees all that ends all.
Exactly.
It's not as if it's written in scripture.
Exactly. There's no reverence for it. You can change it so it actually makes a little bit more sense. We don't have to have this stretch of logic where some guy's like, oh, I've heard in some circles that they refer to
the beast is politics.
Yeah,
and that's why I picked you. I was like, oh wow, that's a. Did you make that up on your own?
Exactly.
No, you
exactly.
Didn't. You copied 76.
It's like a bad YouTube conspiracy theory video. Like,
yeah.
Some guy in his basement being like, "Oh, have you heard about this though?"
Well, this is a spoon, and spoons, are supposed to roll. This one doesn't, which means the Earth is flat. So,
which means
that up,
9/11 was an inside job.
Exactly.
But I do like the way the camera moves in this remake. I think it's shot really well, and I think the photography is really good. The DOP I think did a really great job. I think it looks really good.
It does look good,
and I noticed
it did look good.
There was Donna's thing in the original was the zooms. He did a lot of slow zooms, quick zooms, but his camera stayed relatively static through it all. Whereas in this one, the camera's really fluid. It's moving around. It feels like every shot, there's barely a shot that doesn't at least have some movement in it. Even when he was in the psychiatrist's office, there was just this subtle shift, this subtle pan of the camera at all times.
Oh, yeah.
And it gave me this feeling of momentum, which I think it was funny because I finished the remake and was like, well, that was that was a cool 90 minutes. And then looked it up, and it's not. It's nearly 2 hours.
It's not. Yeah, but it moved.
It really moved. And I was like, oh, that's a
really
good thing, because the original felt like it went for 3 hours. And
it did. I almost fell asleep.
Me too.
Midway through, I was like, "Oh fuck!"
It was relatively late when I watched it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, you're correct there. You're really on the money there. Like, it really did move, didn't it?
And it just had this sense of momentum. And look, it's it's funny because it's like I think on a technical level, I think it's maybe a better movie, but because it's got no originality whatsoever, and it's 100% still like just copying another movie.
Yeah.
That's where you've just got to sit back and go, oh, well, fuck you, man. Like, you can't do that. You can't just, like, that's why nobody likes that Psycho remake, because it's just Gus Van Sant going, I'm just going to pretend to be Hitchcock.
Look at that. Hitchcock did it, and now I've done it.
And now I'm doing it. How good's this?
No. No, it doesn't make sense. Oh, now Anne Heche is here. Oh, fuck it.
And we talk about... and she is no Janet Leigh.
She is no Janet.
Like, but we talk about, the best... When we talk about the best remakes, we're talking things like The Thing.
Yes.
Movies that...
Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead.
Like something that changed it completely.
Took their premise and really played with it and really found new ways to explore that same concept. And so we're stuck here with this movie where it's like, it looks good. It's shot really well. It's acted pretty great.
Spot on.
But what the fuck? What's the point?
Yeah, little boy could have been scarier. But you're not bringing anything new to the table.
No.
You're not bringing anything new to the table. So, you know what? This is just boring as fuck.
So what's the point? Yeah, what's the point? And so it feels kind of like, I don't know. You just kind of walk away from the end of it and just like, well, I guess it's there.
The fuck was that?
It's there just for people who don't want to watch an old movie, I guess.
But it's just a waste. Like I've never been on sides of producers saying, well, this is going to make some money. This obviously made no money because you just didn't try. Whoever didn't, like the writer, director, just didn't try something.
Yeah, I want to check because
like what I said at the start of the movie is that start of the episode is that what you've got in the story of the Omen is quite a nice, chewy piece of story. It could go a lot of different places, but unfortunately, the original does what it does, and that's fine. But if you're going to take the remake, which could have taken a lot of different things in different places, just stays the same, and that's just nothing. It's might as well watch the 76 version.
It's got
a cool graveyard sequence.
There's not really much in it that defines it as its own movie. It's fine. I've just looked it up because I wanted to double check, and I meant to check before the episode, but I'm checking now.
Yeah, different writers.
No, so it's actually listed. The same writer has written both, and I'm glad that's the case because in my head I was like, if this is credited to a different screenwriter, I would be suing. Someone would be suing, but they haven't even. It's not even like someone
so they used
adapted.
the same script.
Yeah, well, I think they've just used the same script, which is pretty ridiculous. Are there many? I don't know of many remakes that have done that.
How? I don't think this is the only one. There's got to be. I have to wiki this movie after we finish because clearly this is wrong.
I find that fascinating.
Just ripped it.
That's it.
It can't be due to rights, though, can it? It can't be due to rights. The statute of limitations would have done.
Well, no,
now.
because with remakes, you just have to credit the original screenwriter as it being an adaptation.
And they get a cut,
and they will just they'll get some kind of cut from
royalty or whatever.
But I'm just gonna.
That's hilarious! Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah. No. Some people are saying that. So the new Cabin Fever film used the same script.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we've got here. Oh yeah, no. Oh, the funny games, but that's the same director as well, and that was a deliberate choice to present it to an American audience. Yeah,
exactly.
It's funny. Nobody has mentioned Omen in this Reddit thread that I'm currently looking through. Here we go. Yeah,
that's because no one's fucking seen 2006's The Omen. That's probably why. Everyone's like,
Death at a Funeral, but they're remakes. American remakes of foreign films doesn't count. I think as far as
that's 100%. And Death at a Funeral is different because they've got different jokes in there. It's different jokes.
Yeah, so this is basically everyone's saying that there's Cabin Fever, there's Psycho, and then there's the Omen were the ones that have used the same script. So there you go. So you get to a point where you're kind of just watching it, hoping for things to be slightly different. Like address that opening scene. Like, why couldn't you have taken the time to just say, "Oh, look, we're making a remake. Right. Why don't we just address this?" They decided that it was a better death for Julia Stiles to have her suffocate. What actually happens? So she pushes. It was more tension.
She puts air into her IV or the blood that's going through her heart or whatever.
So that causes your heart to fuck up. If you have blood in your stream,
it causes you to have a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So they've taken the time to do that instead of throwing her out the window, which is probably better, to be honest. I think that was pretty cool. Yet they don't take the time to address some of the problems with the that's what I always thought that was why we like remake, like the remakes that we do like. We like them because they took the time to address certain things that were missing from the original.
What can I change? What can I make better? Look at Jesus Christ! Look at it, for crying out loud. Change that. You like something you've got to change and make better. You really took it and made it your own, and that's great.
Yeah.
Really completely missed the ball. You didn't miss the ball. You missed the game. The game was 2 hours ago. You missed it.
Yeah, you've rocked up to the stadium and everyone's gone home.
And everyone's gone. Everyone's gone home, you dicks.
That's it. The streamer's left on the ground, but that's about it.
Oh my God. I have one last question.
Yeah, go for it.
Are we wrapping up?
I feel like we've covered it pretty well.
Have we done enough? Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon.
Well, I've got nothing else to talk about in the 2006. I wanted to talk about it because I was like, Tyson, did you watch the same movie as me? I was like, there's no way that this thing is exactly the same.
I know, it was bonkers.
And the fact that they use the same script, I was like, oh my God, well, that just makes sense.
Well, you ask your question and then I'll wrap my thoughts up as well.
Julia Stiles dropping from 2 floors that high up.
She'd die.
That would kill her. Yes?
Dead.
Yeah.
100%.
Cool. Dead completely.
Yeah.
That was a big drop. That was big floors.
2 floors.
Those 2 floors, but it different from the first house because the ceilings weren't that high.
First house was only 1 floor, wasn't it? It was just a 1 floor drop.
Yeah, it was just a 1 floor drop.
Yeah.
This one, no, she's dead.
That's what I mean. This movie was just fascinated with making everything just a little bit bigger. It was like, she doesn't just fall from 1 floor; she falls from 2 floors. Oh, he doesn't just get spiked with the thing on the church; he gets the stained glass window as well.
Yes.
There's not 2 dogs.
CGI,
there's
stained glass
4 dogs. Yeah, that was somebody's idea of how to do a remake. Just take if there's a numerical figure for anything, just double it.
Yep. Just
basically,
double it. Yeah,
basically.
Too bad it wasn't. Yeah, it was 6 6s. Not 3 6s. It was 6 6 6 6 6
6 6s.
Well done,
like
mate.
3 12s.
Well done. 3 12.
It's not 3 6s. It's 3 12s.
3 12s. I did. You know what I did like though? I did like that in the remake that Damien's room. Did you see the pattern on his wallpaper?
I read about it afterwards, but didn't notice it. To be honest.
It was very blatant at that point. And at that point, I was just like, Jesus, do something different. Because by the time I realized that, I was like, oh, you're literally not going to do anything different. I'm watching the same film here. Cool. I'm just going to go on my phone then.
I did enjoy, we haven't even mentioned it, but I did enjoy Mia Farrow in it.
I
thought she...
grabbing the original Carrie, man.
Yeah. And look, it might not have been as good as...
What was her name?
I don't know her name. So I apologise, but
I've got it right here. Wait. Her name was Billy Whitlaw.
Whitlaw?
She was good.
She was really good, but I liked that Mia Farrow did something a little bit different with it. Yeah, sorry, I've just turned off my video for a sec. Did something a little bit different with it in the sense that she wasn't so overtly evil the whole time. You know what I mean? Whereas in the original, it's like I was saying, it's basically straight away you're just kind of like, oh, well, she's evil. Whereas they did do a little bit to kind of change that up in the remake.
Exactly.
They tried to kind of hide her intentions a little bit. Yeah. But
she wasn't as mean. She wasn't as mean.
No, she wasn't as mean.
She was playing the nice one, but yeah.
But overall, a really strange viewing experience. I watched the original in the evening and then watched the remake the day after, and it was amazing how many moments I was just like straight away recollecting and just being like, oh, this is just the exact same moment. Oh, this is exactly what happened in the last one. And hearing the same dialogue coming out of other actors' mouths, it was a really, it was a bizarre experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't give I didn't give it an especially low rating because I feel like it's a competently made movie. Like, and as much as, we hang shit on John Moore, but it's probably his most accomplished on a technical level movie.
Oh, that's really fucking sad. Man, what else has John Moore done? He's got to have done more. Like Max Payne was so shit.
Yeah, I don't like Max Payne. I like his remake of Flight of the Phoenix. With Dennis Quaid. Yep. I enjoy that.
Oh my God.
It's kitsch value.
Okay. I remember really liking Behind Enemy Lines. I remember that being like...
That was a big deal for a while, movie. Back in 2001 or something, I want to say.
It was a B-grade movie, but I was like, this is really good.
You got Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. Yeah, how do you fuck up? Like, it pisses me off that they fucked up the Max Payne movie. That movie, all you need to do, there's one, John, take the original script and literally from the game, put it in a film.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all you have to do.
Apparently you have no trouble. Anything. You have no problem with that. So
because you have no problem with that. So yeah, there you go. Maybe, hang on a minute. Maybe that's why. Maybe because he did Max Payne and everyone kicked up a fuss because that was, that was
Max Payne was after this, surely, wasn't it? Or was it before this?
It was, yeah.
Oh, no.
No, it was after 2008.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did fuck up that fifth Die Hard movie though. Like,
he made a meal
of that thing.
Christ. Shit. Like, way to fuck that up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's right there for you, man. It's right there for you. How can you fuck it up so bad? I mean, I know Die Hard 4.0. It's not great, but it's still a Die Hard movie.
It's still watchable. Yeah, it's watchable. I'll watch it.
How do you somehow take a Die Hard movie and not make it a Die Hard movie?
You just fucked it up. You fucked it up hard in the face. What was I going to say? No, nothing. So yeah, original. Yes, quite good. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I'll watch it again if someone's watching it. Shit. I like Richard Donner.
I can't see myself watching either of these movies again anytime soon.
I'm talking years, man. We're talking 20 years.
Yeah. And I'm talking like on a random Halloween where somebody's like, I've never seen The Omen, and I'm like, yeah.
Exactly.
Let's give it a crack.
Fuck it, let's do it.
It might play better for me now that I'm the age of Gregory Peck. Maybe when I'm so old
Everyone's
that
like,
I'm doddering around the place.
Peck?
Can I just have a moment for how weird he says her name at points? Kathy. And basically spends the whole movie saying, I love you.
And no mouth movement whatsoever.
No mouth movement.
No. We're going to make it. Don't worry. We'll get out of there.
Man, it was so weird.
Man, emote, will you? Fuck.
I know. Do something.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Get Jim Carrey in here.
Do you know what? Did you read, though, that his son...
I read that.
His son committed suicide like 2 years earlier, so he wanted to do a movie. He felt like he was connected to the script because it had this connection to this father and son relationship where he wasn't... And I'm like, I don't see any of this. Anyway.
Where was all that?
Where was all that?
Come on, man.
Atticus Finch.
Well, maybe that's him. Maybe
what the fuck is Atticus, man?
Finch. I know. What the fuck?
Anyway.
God, it was good. That's the only that's the only other Gregory Peck I've seen is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Pick it up at JB Hi-Fi. It's literally only $2.
Oh, no, I don't think that's the case anymore.
Oh, really?
I do. You're right. We used to have, remember we had that real shit quality DVD? I think it was like full frame.
Full frame, yeah.
Full frame.
$2.
It was like the master was from some fucking VHS and they were palming it off for $2 a copy. They didn't spend a cent on the artwork. It was like photocopied from an internet image.
It was literally just pulled from there.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which company. Was that Payless? Payless DVDs?
Payless. Yeah.
Good old Payless.
That's who
what happened to those guys?
Yeah. They're still around. They're pushing something, I'm sure.
I used to remember the Payless representatives coming into JB Hi-Fi, and they were like Willy Loman. These guys, they were like, "Hey,
they were
no guys, I think you really want to buy this one." I'm like, let's just get 2 copies. Oh, 2 copies. Come on, I've got to feed my kids.
The guy. So because I was a buyer for so many years, when the Payless guy came in, I'm like, oh fuck, someone give me a
Payless
because he had the worst breath, man.
Oh yes.
I was like, fuck. I was like, someone quick, give me a mitt.
He was the Willy Loman guy. He was Willy Loman in human form because he was trying to palm off these garbage $2.99 DVDs, and we're like, come on, man, nobody's going to buy them. I'm really sorry. I feel terrible for you because you're not going to get your commission, but nobody's buying.
Sorry, no one's going to buy that. Like literally, no one's going to buy that.
Yeah.
I've got Point Break. Yeah, that's not Point Break. That's just a cover that looks like it.
That's the other Point Break, that weird action movie from the 80s.
Exactly. No one wants that one.
No one wants that
one. I know you're trying to convince me that it's the Swayze one. I actually work in films. I watch.
You can't put a clip art image of a surfboard on the fucking front and just pretend it's that one. It's not going to work, buddy. Oh God, JB.
All right, we'll see you later. Yes, exactly. You can have a free Coke. Go and get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can grab a Coke out of the fridge. All right. And we'll take our 42 copies of the Plank. Remember the Plank? That thing used to sell. I don't know how, but that thing sold. Yeah, so we'd always get 40 copies of the Plank and then just be like, "No, we don't want anything else."
What is the Plank for?
I don't know. It's a classic.
Everyone's like, "Yeah, do you have the Plank?" I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me?" Yeah, sure. Here, fucking.
Yeah, we've definitely got it. But what's wrong with you?
Have you seen it? Have you seen Inception? Do you even know what Inception is?
Do you know how good movies are these days? They look amazing.
Watch the fucking Plank.
They spend everyone who's listening to this,
Google the Plank right now. My God, Google the cover art as well.
It's probably it's probably really fun. No, we shouldn't hang shit on it. It's probably great, but.
Yeah, you know what? It's better than the fucking Omen remake.
They do spend a lot of money on movies these days. They look real good.
Oh my God, they do.
Nick, let's move on for God's sake.
Please.
Should we move on to our next segment? You got to count me in, Nick.
Oh, here we go.
And
what did you watch this week?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're adding a year at the end, are we?
Yeah. Well, I just thought, I've looked up
Spice it up a little bit. It's that blue, and it's like black and white, but they also could afford one color, so they added blue into it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh God!
$2.99, maybe
so
even $1.99. That thing was cheap.
Man, huge.
But I think it cost us like 40 cents.
Yeah.
Yes, Nick.
What did you watch this week? Are you talking about what you're watching, or are you going to leave it for later?
I thought I'd maybe mention a couple. So. This requires a little bit of spoilers. So, Nick,
it does.
Let's do this now so that we can get to it, because I can mention a few things that will not be featuring on my list.
Oh, sure.
But next week on Nick Tyson Videotape, we're welcoming back one of our favorite segments, which is We Rank Stuff, which we haven't done for a little while.
We haven't.
We're doing our top 10 favorite films of 2014 on We Rank Stuff, which is we always have a really good time doing We Rank Stuff. They are notoriously the longest episodes we do, so strap in, ladies and gentlemen, for a 2.5 hour fest next week.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
So I've been watching a ton of movies from 2014. Just to kind of fill some gaps. I won't mention the ones that stand out because they might end up featuring next week.
Sure.
I thought I'd just mention a few of the ones that won't be on my list.
Making the cut. Sure.
Yeah, I watched for the first time Deliver Us from Evil, the Scott Derrickson exorcism crime drama, I guess.
Oh, not the doco.
No,
yeah.
No,
okay. Yep.
This one has Eric Bana as a New York police detective who gets kind of caught up in
I wanted to see this. This looks good.
It's not. Look, it wasn't bad at all. It was kind of entertaining. Scott Derrickson is a very good director. Like, he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. The unfortunate thing is that there's just not enough in it. It just gets to a point where you're just kind of like, what's the point for this movie to exist? The Exorcist exists. These movies, it seems like a movie that just builds up to a really cool exorcism scene, which the exorcism itself is really great and really effective, and for a 15-minute sequence that is just really balls to the wall fantastic. But the movie just feels like it has no purpose until then. It just kind of builds and builds towards it, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, but what are we doing? Like, if I want to watch an exorcism, there are thousands of movies that have really great exorcism scenes in it. So, Also, having said that, I think, Eric Bana, I love Eric Bana. He's, Australia's own Eric Bana, but he's not right in this at all.
He didn't win. Oh, no, really?
And having him and co-lead Edgar Ramirez, who is also not fantastic in this movie, means that we're kind of stuck with two protagonists that are not really selling it at all. Most of the supporting roles are quite effective. Joel McHale does a really interesting job as Eric Bana's partner, this kind of tatted up, like weird kind of like street level cop, and it's a real turn for him, and he's quite good. And some of the bad guys, some of the guys that are, you know, the people that they're chasing who have kind of encountered this demon in their travels, are doing a really good job, and are really creepy, and they're really kind of getting the physicality of it all, and it's quite fun. But yeah, just kind of it ended, and I was just like, that was creepy. But apart from that, I just didn't really have a huge amount of good things to say about it.
Okay.
It's like it's one of those movies that it's like if you wanted to watch a horror movie and you just wanted something that would breeze over you and then you would never think about again. That's the movie for you, because you could do a lot worse. Definitely do a lot worse.
The OMEN remake.
The OMEN remake. But yeah, so that was one of them, and the other one, I'll talk about, because I did watch a few that I'm not even going to bother mentioning.
Sure.
The other one I'll talk about is I watched the Hercules movie with The Rock.
Okay.
I'd only seen
good?
it. Yeah, look, I kind of liked it. I'd only seen it the one time. And I think and I was kind of in and out of it. I remember I kind of was doing other things and was maybe having a couple of drinks and just kind of wasn't engaged with it that first time I watched it.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I thought, no, I'll give it its fair due, because I've heard it's actually quite a lot of fun. And, you know, it is. It's really fun. Like, The Rock is great. He's really, really great.
He is good. He is good.
And the only, like, there's some really incredible action sequences in it. Like a lot of fun, like violent, but in that really kind of like playful kind of 80s action movie way, where it's kind of gleeful. The only thing is, it just kind of feels like there isn't a strong enough antagonist for him, because the whole movie paints it as Hercules isn't really the son of a god. He's just a big fucking unit.
A tough dude.
Yeah. And so the movie kind of goes on with this, and it's like we build up this kind of it's kind of got this this character who's his cousin, who tells the stories of the mighty Hercules, who is building the legend, so that when they go to do these gigs, people are already afraid of him. You know what I mean?
Amped up.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And so it plays this the whole way through, and then kind of towards the end goes, oh no, wait, you can be this man. You might not have the power of a god, but you can be the man that people fear you are, and you can be that legend. But the movie doesn't give us an antagonist worthy of that. Like, the bad guy is, like, spoilers for Hercules, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
The bad guy is John Hurt, who is like 95 and can barely string a word together. So, do you know what I mean? So we're left with this kind of, we're left with this finale where it's like, oh, he's going to fuck up John Hurt. It's like, oh, wow. Okay.
Cool.
It would have been cool if there was like someone to match him physically, that we could see, you know, Hercules flex his muscles. Instead, he has to, have you seen it?
No.
Oh. Sorry, I apologize for spoiling it then.
No, keep going. I'm not going to watch Hercules.
If I'm going to watch
Hercules, it's got to be in Disney form.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good movie. So, like, the finale ends up being him just kind of... It's a bit like Superman Returns. You know, at the end of Superman Returns, where he doesn't have a villain to fight, so it's just a show of strength?
Yeah,
So it's like that, but nowhere near as effective, because in Superman Returns, it's pretty great, because...
Yeah,
you know, the movie has built up to that.
He's doing the best as he can.
Yeah. Whereas in this, he has to just do something that proves he's really strong. But you're kind of like, but he needed to have a worthy adversary, and unfortunately, it just doesn't present it. And I think that's a big problem with the movie. Because at no point... So
there was no scene where he got beaten down and had to build himself back up to come.
Like he's in chains at a point, and he fights some crazy dogs and stuff. Like, you know, when like these movies,
I am in. Yeah,
you want to see that guy who's like, oh, he's the baddest of the bad, and Hercules might not be able to take him down. Like, even if it is the second or the third best, like, evil dude, he's got to have that one guy where he gets to have the mano a mano kind of show of strength, and it doesn't have it.
Like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of feels like it builds up to nothing, and I was a bit kind of like, this could have been really fun, but you kind of just shot yourself in the foot by not having a villain like that. And it doesn't have to be the main villain. It can be the secondary villain, but the secondary villain in this movie is fucking Joseph Fiennes. And you're like, well, he's not like, he's like 4'11".
Thick.
He's not stepping up to the rock
at all.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
So yeah,
at least was there no powers or anything like that? No Hades?
None of that.
Oh,
none of
come
that.
on.
Because they're playing in the real world. It's that's the whole point of the movie. It's like Hercules isn't the son of a god. He's just a really fucking tough unit. And,
massive dude.
Yeah,
okay.
and so
there was no gods at all? Like no gods?
No.
Oh, there's no Zeus, no nothing.
It pops up in like the storytelling.
It alluded
segments.
to it,
yeah, but it's
Sure,
not.
sure.
Apparently, it's not real. But yeah, so it's a really fun movie with great action sequences and great characterization that just has a real villain problem, which kind of makes it less fun because you get to the finale and go, well, I'm not looking forward to anything in this finale, so
yeah,
I guess I'll just watch and see what happens. I guess
Okay.
Yeah, so but not terrible by any stretch, and I hate saying that because Brett Ratner is a piece of human garbage, but
piece of shit.
He's done he did a pretty good job with it. So
he did okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the thing. Like Ratner he's an okay director. Like he's not.
It's probably the movie of his I've enjoyed the most.
Really, you didn't like Red Dragon? I like Red Dragon.
I'd have to watch it again.
That's my fave.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again. But
what else has he fucked up? I need to look it up now. I do. I need to know these things.
That's his calling card. Brett Ratner will fuck up your franchise.
What else you fucked up, mate?
Yeah.
Okay,
but that's all I'm going to talk about because I've seen a ton more, but I just want to save them in case they end up popping up on next week's episode.
Save them. Absolutely.
What do you watch next?
My 2014 watching starts now because I had to get the Omen out of the way.
Sure.
I don't know why, but yeah, I have to do that. Mine won't because I've actually, and the reason that I picked, I liked it actually. You know what? I'm going to save it for the episode.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, what I was about to say. Actually, no, screw it because I'll forget. The reason that I picked. The reason that I picked 2014, because that we picked it, Tyson, is because when we've done these, it's always been like we'll get a certain amount of movies, and we're like, that's my 10, and that's it. This one, I could easily pick a top 20. I'm like, fuck, this is going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's funny. It took me a long while on Letterboxd to scroll through until I found a movie that I hadn't seen that I wanted to watch in case it made it. So
exactly, which is why I picked it.
Yeah,
exactly the same as me. That's why I picked it. Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of rewatches more than first time watches.
Yeah. So exactly. So for me now, I've got 3 movies in my eyesights that I want to watch, and I've seen them before, but it's picking where they rank now.
Yeah, for sure.
How good is each one above the other?
Yeah,
sort of
I'm starting to get to those now, and if anyone's following me on Letterboxd, they might have seen a few of those. The movies that are definitely in the running that I'm just trying to figure out where they'll sit in the the pecking order. There's a few I'm saving for next week that I'm going to save till late, until basically the couple of days before we record, because I'm fairly certain they're going to be 1, 2, and 3. And
giveaways.
I just want to hold on to them for a little bit and to cement my order. So what are you going to talk about then, Nick? Anything?
Little man got his first big flu. Anyway. So it was a day on the couch. It's a day that I've been wanting as a dad for quite a while.
Yeah,
I know that there'll be a few, and we just sat and we watched movies and we didn't move.
Sounds
we had
awesome.
snacks and it was awesome. So little man watched Big Hero 6 for the first time.
Oh, good movie.
So we didn't want to. We were moving away from things that are Pixar. He watches a lot of Pixar. I was like, what else is there?
It's pretty close.
Something else. So I know, right? It's spot on. So Big Hero 6, and I'm a big fan of this movie. I forgot how good it is.
Yeah,
what I was the biggest fan of, especially when I watched it the first time, was its mixture of Asian culture with American culture. So I forget what the name of the town is called, but it's like San Francisco, Tokyo, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Big fan of that. That was huge. But also with the fact that the movie deals with losing a loved one in quite a easy way. It's not Kobo and the Two Strings. Do you know what I mean? Which is quite a heavy watch.
Yep.
This one, it's a little bit lighter. It's still dealing with those things, but just in a lighter way. But yeah, man, Big Hero 6. Big fan.
That's one that I'm tossing up whether or not I'm going to rewatch it because I want to put it on my list, but I'm like, I think I need to watch it again
And I didn't even realize. So when I watched it, I didn't even realize that it was 2014. I was like,
perfect.
"Oh, okay, that's yeah." So, see, that was fun.
Well, we talk about this a lot.
Ones,
just before you go on, we talk about this a lot when we have those spots reserved in our top 10 for certain things. Where it's like, I always reserve one spot for a comedy. Like, my 10th spot is always, like, my favourite comedy of the year. And
favourite comedy?
Like, I always try to reserve a spot for, like, a kid's movie or an animated feature. So, it's
nice.
It could sneak in.
Okay, it's going to be up there. So after lunch, we had a nap, and then we kept watching. Now, Dad it was Dad's turn to pick, because he picked Big Hero 6. And he kept just walking around going, Big Hero 6, Big Hero 6. I'm like, yeah, that's not his name, though. Anyway.
I thought he would have wanted a Betamax or whatever the guy's name is.
Baymax. Yeah, Baymax.
No, he kept going. That's the fucking cassettes.
No, Baymax. He kept... When Baymax does the fist and thing, instead of he goes, blah, la, la, la. That's what Clark kept doing. It was the cutest thing in the world. Blah, la, la, la. I was like, cool. Oh, you're a little shit. Come here. Let me hug you. But yeah, it was Dad's turn to pick. And we went old school Disney, man. We watched The Little Mermaid. 1989. Yep. The last movie in, what did they keep calling it? They kept calling it when I read the reviews, they kept calling
Is it the Diamond Era
Renaissance,
or something?
the Disney Renaissance or something like that. Anyway, it was the last movie of Disney's animated to be fully hand-drawn. All of it was hand-drawn.
Okay.
Even the bubbles. So think about how many bubbles are going to be in the movie The Little Mermaid. All of those, the director wanted them to be individually hand-drawn. There is no bubble in The Little Mermaid that is the same. That is insane.
That is ridiculous.
One person who had to do that shit.
You've mentioned this before as one of your favourites, because I think it was pretty high. Because we've done our top 10 of 1989, Nick. We have done that.
We have. It ranked quite high.
It did rank quite high. How did it hold up for you?
Yeah.
Still.
It did. It was good. And it's still up there. And do you know what I've realised this time, Tyson? This is going to be very controversial.
Oh, yes.
I think I like The Little Mermaid better than The Lion King.
Oh, get out of here. Get.
Now, the reason why is because I prefer the songs. I think the songs are better. Yep. Stay with me.
All right. No, I'm hanging about.
And I also think I prefer, like, Ursula over Scar. I think Ursula is a better villain. Yeah.
I'm fairly certain you will have people agreeing with you, but I am not one of them.
Yeah. That's fine. So yeah, I'm a big fan of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, it rates up there. I think it's now that, like, it was so funny because after we watched it and I was talking to Sam about it, because Sam was, so it got to the part where of course my wife comes down from her upstairs office where she's working from home at the part where Ursula gets big, and it's a little bit, it's not scary, but it may be a little bit scary for a 3-year-old if he doesn't understand what's happening, right? Yeah. And of course Sam turns to me and goes, are you seriously letting me watch this? Are you scarring your child right now? You're scarring your child with a Little Mermaid.
Come on, it's not Predator.
It's Ursula. It's fine. He'll be fine. And of course, as soon as I say he's fine, Clark goes, I'm like, buddy, it's okay. It's okay, mate. It's all right. It's over. See, look, the crab's back. Little crab.
Exactly. Flounders.
So funny,
look, Flounders floating around. It's all good.
Exactly. So yeah, after watching it, I just having discussions with Sam. Like, it's so funny how I was like, Sam, I really think it is. I think it rates higher than The Lion King for me. But now, of course, I have to watch The Lion King again because I don't.
Yeah, we watched it
Everyone
probably about a year ago, and it just held up so well for me. It's something else. I'd be interested to hear how you went if you rewatched it, to be honest. Because
is that also Tyson, because you're a big cat fan as well?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah,
might have something to do with it.
Just checking.
I do like it. I do like a big cat. But I don't know. It just for me, it clicks on all levels for me, and like more so than any of those others in that generation, except maybe Hunchback. Hunchback's the other one I kind of rate as potentially a favorite.
That's really good.
But
good, but really adult.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably
Hunchback
why.
Is very adult.
I think it was like a bridging film for me between like kids' movies and adult movies, because I would have been like 13 or so when it came out, and I think I just kind of, that was like a big kind of filled the gap between those two. Not to say that Little Mermaid is not good. It's fantastic, but
no, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how you went after watching Lion King again. To be honest, how we'd rank them.
Yeah.
That should be one of our we rank stuff. We can rank the golden age of Disney.
Rank the Disney golden days of Disney. That's
from like Little Mermaid to maybe is Hercules the last one of the or
was it the Tarzan? Was it Tarzan? I'd say Tarzan. Because Tarzan doesn't have songs.
Well, it does,
Tarzan
but
doesn't
the
have
songs are on the soundtrack. They're not singing the songs.
They're not singing the songs.
Maybe it's Emperor's New Groove might be kind of the ending point of that. That kind of that 11-year run.
So many friends who back the Emperor's New Groove. They absolutely love it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But that would be really fun, actually. And there's only 10 movies to choose from, so we'd just have a list of 10. And we just have to rank them.
Where do you put them?
Exactly.
Where do you put them?
That could be fun. Yeah. Maybe we'll look at doing that soon.
I like it. We can do that.
All right. Well, Nick, is that going to wrap us up?
That's it, Tyson.
All right, just remind the people at home where they can find our show then.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we helped you, steer away from the Omen. If you did
you can watch the Omen. It's all right.
I'm kidding. Watch the Omen. Watch the classic 76 version, please. As if you're not going to watch it. Kathy, please.
I love you.
Don't worry about it. Well, we have to run away. Ladies and gentlemen, if you liked what you've heard, please rate, review, subscribe, all of the things that above that I just said. Do that wherever you're listening to this, and we would love you so much. Other than that, Tyson and myself are all over the social medias, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are on YouTube. We have an email account. If you wish to email us, you can do that. Send Tyson some weird stuff. Make it sexual. Who cares?
Oh, let's do it.
Brighten his day.
Bring it on.
Brighten his day up. Exactly. That is, you can get him at NIC. What am I doing? NickTysonVideotape@gmail.com.
That's
it. If you wish to see what else Tyson is looking at on 2014
and our ratings of each of the Omen movies.
And also our ratings of the Omens, yes, exactly. You can jump on Letterboxd if you don't know what Letterboxd is. It is a social media movie app which does not have anything to do with anyone bullshitting about Trump or any crap like that.
It's true.
Oh, dear God, it's blissfully lovely. And it's so funny how, nowadays, because we get what you're looking at the most on your phone, my phone just says, wow, you haven't looked at Facebook in ages. Maybe stop looking at Letterboxd so much. I'm like, man, don't fucking tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do, man. Thanks, Siri.
Exactly. But you can follow Tyson at TYS_videotape, and I am NIC_videotape.
That's it. And just to reiterate, Nick, next week we're doing our We Rank stuff. Our top 10 films of our top 10 favorite films of 2014. We always distinguish it as our favorite films of 2014, not necessarily the best films, but our favorites.
No, our favorites.
And strap in for another long one, because this was a long one as well, Nick. So next week, I'm sure it's going to be a nice long one too.
It will. Tyson?
Yes, Nick.
See you, buddy.
I'll see you, bye.
Bye.
See you, man.
Bye.